Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Sunday, October 9th, 2022. Been a while since we did a Sunday show. We definitely got to get one in this Sunday because I'm afraid I'm going to have to miss TFR again on Wednesday night. And again, once I'm done with this whole moving thing, we'll get back to a normal schedule and we won't miss TFR anymore. And we'll do Sunday night shows almost every Sunday night and things will be regular again. If you guys would like to join the show tonight, I did put the link in the chat. Again, the Sunday night show, it's always nice to see new faces, people in the community, new thoughts, new ideas, new stories. But the link is in the chat. Or you can just send me an email to GematriaEffectNews@gmail.com. Just say, want to get on the show, and I will check my emails in a moment and send out the links. I'll let you know when the links are sent out. And you just click the link, allow access to your mic. If you want, allow access to your camera. You can just do the mic if you don't want your face on the screen, or if you don't mind being on the screen, do the mic and the camera. It's up to you. But yeah, just two big things right now in the community that we've really been talking a lot about. The organic side of the code, and of course, it's football season, so we've been talking a lot about rig football, and we probably had our best week as a community yet, week 5. It started off with the bang with the Giants upsetting the Packers. Again, I just want to contrast two things. And I think rig sports are a great contrast with the organic side of the code. And here we are in the Christopher Columbus NFL week. And we'll talk about just how perfect these patterns are. But again, just to contrast, what seems blatantly rigged versus what occurs organically by this systematic code of letters and numbers known as Gematria, which again traces back to the ancient Kabbalistic practice. So today's games, there's a lot to say about them, but one of the most blatant examples, and it was the Vikings beating the Bears. Today is Leif Erikson Day. Just so you can see this, Leif Erikson, the famous Viking. It's every year on October 9th, okay? Sunday, October 9th, Leif Erikson Day. That's today. He was a Viking. The Minnesota Vikings won today, and the Minnesota Vikings are now 9-0 as a franchise on Leif Erikson Day. They've never lost on this day. Again, you can verify these things with the website StatMuse, which makes looking up sports stats for pro sports very fun and interesting. But you just type in things like this: Vikings all-time record on October 9th, because that's Leif Erikson Day. And as you can see, they improved to 9-0. Had you checked it earlier today, you would have seen they were 8-0. And they became 9-0 today by beating the Bears. And the Bears have two connections to this 9-0 record. Again, Gematria, based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. And just to see the forwards and backwards without the numerology here, all these numbers are really important to Chicago, but just to make it more clear. All right, I typed in Chicago. Bears. The Chicago Bears. That's the football team's name. But you see how it's 45 in the most simple cipher? That's a number with a powerful relationship to 9. It is the 9th triangular number, which means if you add 1 through 9, it equals 45. Of course, in numerology, 45 is 4 plus 5 is 9. And then when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Bears equals 90 instead of 45, kind of like becoming 9-0 on Leif Erikson Day versus the division rival team. And again, you watch the NFL, it feels anything but organic. Just boneheaded calls, unbelievable decisions by the referees and by the players and the coaches. It's a joke. It's a big rig joke. And again, I don't know how more people don't see it. But Leif Erikson Day, the Vikings improved to 9-0. And again, they only play on Leif Erikson Day every so often because, football games are mostly on Sunday. There's one game on Monday. In the 21st century, there's been games on Thursday, but just one game on Thursday and then Monday. So most games on Sunday. Rarely an NFL game at the end of the season will fall on a Saturday, but usually if Leif Erikson Day is not on a Sunday, the Vikings aren't playing that day. And again, it's just when you're aware of the narratives, that the outcomes are so clear. And the Giants and the Packers, again, the whole media, you guys, was selling that the Packers would cover the 8-point spread. Everybody in the media was on the same talking point: Packers by 10. Everyone was saying the same thing, like they were a bunch of robots. And you know that they're just reading off the notes that they're all told to say. And I even watched one of the commentators say the Packers would win by 10, and then 2 games later, he's like, "Oh, you know me, I don't take games when it's more than a touchdown. That's not me." And it's like, well, wait a minute. You just said a minute ago, like everybody else, like the million other people on TV, Packers by 10, but now you're saying 2 picks later that you don't do games with a spread more than a touchdown. That's how you can just see these guys are reading off note cards and they're not even thinking about what they're saying, and they know they're mostly talking to an audience who's not thinking at all. So anyway, familiar patterns. Again, gematria. Out of the base ciphers, the most important cipher, all the ciphers are important, but the most important is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. And in this cipher, New York is 39, New York is 39, and Green Bay is 41. And again, we saw how at the beginning of the season, if the Giants had a surprise positive start, they could start the year 4-1 because they could become 4-1 versus Green Bay and then go into Baltimore 4-1. And these numbers show up all the time with these teams. But not only did the Giants get to 4-1 today, they got their 41st all-time win in Week 5 against Green Bay. And then Green Bay got their 39th all-time loss in Week 5. And every week of this NFL season, we're talking about New York and 39. Both New York teams won today. The Jets and the Giants are both having positive seasons. And look at what day the season began on September 11th. You know, so again, while the whole media is telling everybody to put all this money on the Packers, who don't even have much of a payout, again, over here, we're with the gematria lenses and going, man, Giants got serious value and a really great riddle. And with regards to the base ciphers, whoops, hit the wrong button. Let me punch these back in. Okay, the base ciphers, New York, 111. The game was pretty much over after what happened on a minute 11. New York, 78. Again, Aaron Rodgers got his 78th career loss today. In that same cipher, Sunday and Jesuit are 78. But the Giants won the first ever international series game exactly 780 weeks before this game. The Packers became the last team to participate in the international series, whereas the Giants were the team to win the very first game in the international series. But exactly 780 weeks after that first game, 780. And then yesterday in the stream, a caller phoned in and said, you know, the guy who played Harry Potter is a big New York Giants fan, and he's from the UK. And the game is also exactly 78 days after his birthday. Aaron Rodgers did get his 78th loss today. The Packers did get their 39th loss for his Week 5. And the game was, again, pretty much put over with a minute 11 left. And just seconds before that, they flashed up a stat on the screen, if you're watching the game, that said the Giants had a 78% chance to win. I mean, come on. As for New York 33, Teddy Bridgewater, who played the Jets today, he stayed on 33 wins, losing to the Jets. And with regards to New York and 39, again, NY is 39 in the most simple cipher. NYC is 39 when you run it in reverse. And how you'd write it on an envelope, New York, NY, 39 in reverse numerology. Again, the United Nations there is 39 floors tall. The Yankees won the World Series in 39. The World's Fair was in 39. So many things with New York and 39. Every week of this NFL season, I've been talking about New York and 39. Every week. And that doesn't mean I'll end up talking about it every single week, all 17 games played for the New York teams. But the point is, it comes up a lot, and it's consistently a winning number with New York. That does not seem. Again, we know there's an organic side to the code, but the thing is with sports and news, it's just so perfectly scripted day after day. And then when you watch the sports, it's just like, come on, man. I mean, this guy's paid $6 million a year to coach the team, and he's making that decision. I mean, I could have picked a bum up off the street, and he would have known the right play there. Like the end of the Broncos-Colts game. Shout out to the winners. Double win on Thursday night off the knowledge. And we're going to talk more about that because, again, there's so much to say about all these games right here. We had a very, very beautiful day. You see how the Saints beat the Seahawks today? Here, look at this in the base ciphers. In the most simple cipher, Columbus is 106, right? Columbus is 106. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, Christopher Columbus is 106. Kind of reminds me of how Jesus is 74. And in that same cipher, when you run it in reverse with numerology, Jesus Christ is 74. But again, Columbus is 106. Christopher Columbus is 106. This NFL week that ends with Columbus Day, and year after year, I've been teaching the same thing, how they do this pirate native symbolism all in the week of Columbus Day. But this week began on 10-6, and Russell Wilson stayed on 106 wins. Now, his old team, the Seahawks, they got beat today, and the Saints became 10-6 versus the Seahawks. And Pete Carroll, his old coach, came into the game with 106 losses, picking up his 107th, exactly 107 days after Masonry's birthday. Notice there were 71 points scored in the game. Big Catholic number. Again, somebody was just calling yesterday. They're like, "Isn't there something about the Saints and 71 you've been talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's that Catholic thing." They're today going, "Man, look at that, 71 points in the game." But this 10-6 thing, this 10-6 thing. So again, on the first game of the week, where did they put it? Thursday Night Football. I guess they put it down at the bottom now. Again, we saw that this game should be the under, which it was, why the Colts had a great chance to upset, why it was smart to take the points for them to cover the spread just in case. So there were two ways to play it. Either way was a winning way. One way paid out more. But one of the big things was Russell Wilson potentially staying on 106 wins on 10-6, which he did. And remember, the word black also equals 106, okay? Black is 1/6. The phrase Black Lives Matter is 106. Remember this. 3 black quarterbacks. It gets dark early. Hold on. Let me turn on the light. Okay. 3 black quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl. Again, Doug Williams did it with the Washington Redskins. They scored 4 touchdowns in the second quarter and 42 points in the game. Another number stamped all over black history. Doug Williams did it with the Redskins. Russell Wilson did it representing the 42nd state, Washington, the Seahawks, who again are named after the Native American tribe, the local Native American tribe. Again, if you don't know, the city of Seattle is named after Chief Seattle, the Native American. So the Seahawks are a Native team. And then the third black quarterback to win the Super Bowl was Patrick Mahomes, who did it with the Chiefs. Okay, we just talked about what happened last week with his win over Brady, and then the Native American woman dead right after being recognized and apologized to for something that happened to her 49 years earlier on Patrick Mahomes' birthday, 15 days before the big primetime game that she's dead the day of, as number 15 Mahomes wins. But anyway, the point is, black quarterbacks, Native American teams. Now, remember when Obama was president, the hockey team in Chicago's the Chicago Black Hawks, and they just couldn't stop winning the Stanley Cup while he was president. First black president, all of a sudden the Blackhawks, who haven't played, Blackhawks were like really good when I was a baby. They hadn't really been that great of a team in a long time, and they dominated when Obama was president. And again, Blackhawks, Native American symbolism, right? Plus the word black in it. And don't forget when Obama just put out his book, A Promised Land, that came out 106 days after his birthday on the day leaving 44 days left in the year. And the title of Promised Land relates to Abraham and the biblical prophecy, and Abraham's 44, like Obama was number 44. But the point is, what they keep doing with black quarterbacks and the perfect scripts and the numbers, when you're aware of this knowledge, you can see it. And we thought black quarterbacks would have a rough time this week during Columbus week because this is what the NFL does. Year in and year out, as we've been proving. From understanding this, it's allowed us to call so much in futures, so much in weekly games. And again, it's not a perfect science yet, but we're always learning more. And here, let's look at these games, how black quarterbacks did versus white quarterbacks. We'll talk about the Ravens-Bengals game a little bit later. Again, Giants upset Packers. You had 2 white quarterbacks in that game. Bills smoked the Steelers, dropping the Steelers to 1-4 as the Bills were a 14-point favorite. We thought there was 2 reasons they could cover that spread because it's week 5. 15 is the 5th triangular number, and the date numerology was 16. But I talked about the significance of 14-41 in this game, and the Bills playing the class of the AFC, the team that's won 6 Super Bowls. And look at the score, 41 points, right? As the Steelers fall to 1-4. And last week we saw that the Steelers could lose to the Jets to set up them falling to 1-4 versus the Bills, who had the shooting on the 14th of May at the Buffalo Tops with the racist who painted the 14 words on his gun. And again, the store opened on the 196th day of the year, square root of 14. So we've been talking about how important that number is to this Bills season. Again, the team that's 0-4 in Super Bowls. But Bills smashed the Steelers. Predictable numbers. Chargers and Browns was an iffy game. And you had decent riddles going either way. Either team could have fallen to 2-3. Pretty important number today because it's the day leaving 83 days left in the year, which is the 23rd prime. and it's the ninth of the month, and 23 is the ninth prime. The Chargers, Herbert got his 18th win today. Again, you have 61 and 16 date numerology. 61 is the 18th prime. Cleveland Browns is also 61, as is Ohio. It was tough, though, because he could have stayed on 17, another number that plays in Ohio, the 17th state. But that game was challenging. Bears and Vikings, again, Leif Erikson Day. The Vikings have never lost on Leif Erikson Day. They're now 9-0, like Bears is 90. We thought the Patriots would get it done today. It's a lot to explain, but Bill Belichick's next loss is 103, and it should come in a very symbolic game since it's the 103rd NFL season. There's no symbolism with him getting his 103rd loss against the lowly Lions. And again, no surprises there. The Saints and the Seahawks, again, just looking at that 10-6 Columbus thing, it made too much sense for the Saints to get to 10-6, and they did. The Jets and the Dolphins was another iffy game. You had good riddles going both ways. I'm forgetting to point things out as I hold on. Let me rewind. Okay, so white quarterback versus black quarterback. Herbert is white, Brissett is black. So the white quarterback beat the black quarterback, and that was a thought, but still the game was iffy. But we thought that white quarterbacks would beat black quarterbacks at a good clip because it's Columbus week. Some weeks, it's like weeks have the good numbers. It's a lot to explain, but we just knew Columbus week's not going to be the good one because, again, Columbus, it's about remembering essentially a technologically advanced sociopathic murderer rapist who journaled about how easy it was to kill the Native American people and rape their women. We know that thanks to Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States. They don't teach us that one in our 13 years of slave school, but it is out there if you want to look into it. Anyway, it's just, it's about the evil history of this nation and a history that has absolutely been racist. So anyhow, Bears Vikings. Kirk Cousins is white. Justin Fields is black. So Kirk Cousins wins on Leif Erikson Day. So white quarterbacks 2, black quarterbacks 0 in the matchups. Lions and Patriots was 2 white quarterbacks. Seahawks and Saints. You had white quarterback Dalton and also backup Hill. Or what's his name, Peyton Hillis, or whatever the backup's name is. They're both white, but against Geno Smith, who's black. And by the way, Geno Smith equals 47. It's the Seahawks' 47th season, the team on the 47th parallel that kept Russell Wilson on 47 road wins as he lost week 1 on Monday Night Football. But anyhow, both teams became 2-3, where 23 could be a big number on the date. So white quarterbacks 3-0 versus black quarterbacks. Dolphins and Jets, you had white quarterback Zach Wilson versus black quarterback Teddy Bridgewater on the week of the Crimea Bridge explosion. But white quarterback beats black quarterback. So that's 4-0 for white quarterbacks versus black quarterbacks. Buccaneers and Falcons, you had white quarterback Brady versus the Islander Mariota, which sort of fits in with the same theme. And again, Brady had numbers to win this game as well. But again, just white quarterbacks against ethnic quarterbacks, if you will. Flawless on Columbus Day. And then Titans over the Commanders. White quarterback versus white quarterback. Carson Wentz purposefully throwing away the game at the end. Couldn't be more obvious. And then Texans and Jaguars, you had 2 white quarterbacks. And we thought the Texans had a great chance to upset today. And they had a very huge value. They won their 9th straight game against the Jaguars and their 5th straight in Jacksonville in week 5. There were some question marks about this game, but Jaguars is 23 in the most pure cipher. They fall to 2-3 again on the 9th, 23 the 9th prime on the day, leaving 83 days left in the year, 83 the 23rd prime. But it was white versus white, so not part of that ritual. 49ers Panthers, we like the 49ers because if they won this week, Jimmy Garoppolo would get his 39th win. Charlotte equals 39 where the game is. Sets up his 40th win over the potential team next week that equals 40 in Gematria. But that was white and white, so it didn't add to it. And then Cowboys and Rams, 2 white quarterbacks. I thought this game was iffy. Cowboys beat the Rams. The callers yesterday were more filling the Cowboys than the Rams, so good job to the callers. I couldn't decide if the Cowboys would get to 4-1, because again, LA and Dallas are 41, or if Cooper Rush, their new starter, would fall to 4-1. And but yeah, the Rams did become 2-3 as well on this Super 23 date. And then the Eagles and Cardinals was the only game with 2 black quarterbacks, and the Cardinals did cover the spread there. We thought a lot of these games with a spread around 3 points would be right at 3 points because it's week 5, the 3rd prime. But the week also began with a white quarterback beating a black quarterback. So far this week, white quarterbacks versus black quarterbacks are 5-0 in week 5. And remember, that's not an arbitrary number. America equals 50, 50 states. And this was a hunch that we had before the game. I theorized that by the end of the week, we might see black quarterbacks be 2-5 versus white quarterbacks. Right now, they're 0-5. I'm not sure that they're even going to end up 2-5, but the reason I thought that is because, again, it's the week of Columbus, and notice Columbus in the most pure cipher, 25. And as I say that out loud, white also has the gematria 25. So you do have 2 primetime games left. The Ravens are up on the Bengals, so Lamar Jackson presents the first opportunity for a black quarterback to beat a white quarterback. And then Mahomes versus Derek Carr tonight. Tomorrow is also interesting, but we're going to have to think about that one because a lot of times the native teams are getting punked on Columbus Day. So, anyway, none of this feels organic to me. And again, a lot of stuff in the media just looks completely contrived, from the Joe Biden presidency to a million other ones, to what goes on in sports, to the way the news stories are presented with no actual proof, but the agenda rolls out by the same numbers month after month. Same kind of contrived story, same kind of agenda. Just seems like systematic programming. And then meanwhile, sometimes in our life, something happens that just blows our mind. And it doesn't happen every day. It's not like every day we're noticing how our life unfolds by the numbers perfectly, but sometimes it does. And it's just so exact. And again, if you read books about numerology and astrology, numerologists will say there's numbers assigned to your life, and those numbers have a vibration that attracts other people with that similar vibration, and they become your friends, and eventually, maybe your significant other. It transitions into your career. Case in point, again, here in the most pure cipher, if you can only have one, again, this is the cipher that every numerologist, legit, will recommend. They'll say, this is the one to decode your life with. Again, my dad's full name, Timothy Stephen Hubbard. It is 89 in this cipher. It's the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Timothy Stephen Hubbard. And if you write out my full name, Zachary Keefe Hubbard, like father, like son, it's also 89, right? And then my mother's birthday is the 8th day of the 9th month. And let's see if the record's changed yet. What's the coldest day ever recorded? Okay, it's still July 21st, 1983, and the temperature is still negative 89 Celsius. And why does that matter? Again, that was the day I was born, right? Born on this day. And again, all of the ciphers are relevant. This is the most pure one, but I got to point out in the base ciphers, the word number itself, just the word number, is 89, right? My dad always loved numbers. I always like numbers. And, my undergrad, for example, is accounting. When I was a teacher, I used to spend a lot of time before and after school tutoring students with math. And then one day I found gematria because I noticed there was something going on with numbers in this world that was more than what I'd learned about in school. It seemed there was something ritualistic about numbers in the media. And, that was a theory I once had, but I didn't understand it. And then eventually with the knowledge I found, I was able to test it and say, I see what's going on with the manipulation and the number games from the Bible to the media, from the things that come from the authority. And there's that word for the secret authority, the cabal, which comes from Kabbalah, which is where this code of letters and numbers comes from. Again, the book of formation, Kabbalistic text. God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. It sounds silly, but then when you observe it, you realize there are numbers manifesting in our lives organically. And it's just like last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago when we did the Coolio live stream wake up or makeup show. A gentleman called in and he said, man, Zach, I've had this number 224 follow me all the time. He's like, almost every time I look at the clock, it's 224. It's just like, I can't stop seeing that number. And at first I asked him, I said, did August 12th mean anything to you? He's like, I'm not sure about August 12th. I said, May 21st. And then he froze and he goes, that's the day my child was born. And I said, well, that's the day leaving 224 days left. And he's like, wow, I didn't even realize that before. And I noticed this number's following me. Again, we have connections to numbers that show up in our lives. My dad was recently just talking about how the 2 car accidents he's been in, both were in the intersection of 117th Street. And I don't want, I hope my dad lives a long life, but just hearing that, I just wonder if someday I might get the bad news. Hopefully, it's many years from now. Hopefully, it's decades from now. He's about to turn 70 years old if he takes care of himself. His mom lived a long time, but and she didn't take care of herself, so he's got good genes. But I just wonder if someday that could be like the day my dad passes, right? November 7th, July 11th. Maybe these are 2 clues early in his life. He gets smashed by cars in intersections, both at 117th Street. How do you explain it? It wasn't even the same 117th, and these things are 20 some years apart. And for the record, just with regard to the organic side and the most pure cipher, again, we were just talking about this. Right after we ended the trip, after going out and pounding pavement at 9/11, here, I'm gonna put the word crash up here. Crash is 22. And we found out that September 22nd, what is it? Not drive a car day or something like that? Car free day. So this just became even more mind blowing. But okay, let me come back to September 22nd first. So again, I just drove from out Seattle area to New York City and then back to Seattle, right? It was a marathon tour. We hit a lot of cities on the way, pounded a lot of pavement. And on the way back, I'd met a father son combo. Shout out to Malik and Yasid in New York. And I even made a video about them on GematriaEffectNews 24 before the channel got suspended. But uh, again, on the way back, the father kept calling to make sure I was okay on the road because he knew I hadn't slept a lot. And he just wanted to make sure I was driving safe. And he kept checking in on me to make sure everything was okay. And then, I made it back okay on the 15th. 1 week later, on the 22nd, he lets me know that he got in the first car crash of his life and he got absolutely smashed. And right on the driver's side, T-boned, dangerous wreck. And he's a tough guy. He played football for a lot of his life. But I thought, how weird, man. He was calling to make sure I got back safe. I get back, and 1 week later, on the 22nd of all days, he gets in his first ever car accident. Well, then my dad reaches out to me and lets me know that he got in a bad car accident on the same day, the 22nd. And here I was talking to this father that was the father son combo that came out for us on New York. And then my own dad ends up getting in a crash on the same day he does. And then I find out my realtor got in a crash. And then I find out Derek, who built this calculator that we're looking at right here, his uncle got in a deadly car accident on the same day. And then I find out Dan Barrett, who's been decoding the longest since I have. Dan was another mind in the world that saw something going on with numbers. And then he found my work. And almost as soon as I started putting out videos, it was probably months later, he started doing gematria videos and really great work. And I used to always compliment Dan back in the day. I was like, well, even though I kind of inspired him, I thought when we first started that he had the superior mind, just the way he was able to memorize so many things. And like, he knew a lot more about like pop culture and entertainment than I did. I know some stuff, but he just knew so many things. I was like, God, this guy is good at this, man. And that's why I'd always said early on, it's like more people are going to find this and people will get better and better at this research. But all of us, like, who are connected to this community, that all these car crashes happen on the same day. And then some people were people that the reason I had to run back was because Sweet Lady found out that she needs to work 50 miles from where we live and she doesn't like driving. So right away, we're trying to look for a place, to move to and, meet the realtor. And then, it ends up seemingly like blurring into his life. But then to find out not just the 22nd thing, but that it was also a car-free day on September 22nd, is organized in various cities throughout the world in different ways, but with the common goal of reducing the number of cars on the streets. Isn't that weird? And for the record, in the most simple cipher, crash is 49, right? Crash is 49. I have a life lesson number of 49 in my numerology. And Yasid, who got in a wreck, he's 49 years old. His birthday's Valentine's Day. It was exactly 220 days, 220, after his birthday that he crashed on the 22nd in the first crash of his life. After just meeting me and, looking out for me as I drove back from, I mean, I can't tell you how much he called me, you guys. He was checking in all the time to make sure I was so safe. That's why it's so weird. It's like, okay, he's like looking out for me and then he gets in a wreck. Man. But yeah, this kind of stuff is like the Twilight Zone. And just wait until I finish my latest book. I know why I haven't been able to finish my book now. It wasn't meant to be finished. I needed to go through this life experience first because, again, like I've closed out all my books with the organic side, I'm doing it again, and I'll tell one of the best stories yet of the organic side, but I'll save it for the book. It's just, life is stranger than fiction. So again, people see things like that and they go, well, if it can work out like that way in real life, why can't it just be working like that in all the football games? Again, I mean, you have a little bit of an argument there, but you watch these games and you're just like, no way. I mean, how could you ever make that decision? You had the Colts Broncos game. I mean, the Broncos were up what, 9-6, right? Weren't they up 9-6? I forget exactly what they were up, but they were up and they were in the Colts red zone and the time was low. And they could have just ran the ball and kicked another field goal. I mean, the Colts couldn't even move the ball all game. But instead they throw an interception to the back of the end. It's just like, come on, man. I mean, nobody makes these decisions. It's Russell Wilson again, just like he did it against Brady in Super Bowl 49. And I mean, come on, think about all of Brady's Super Bowls. They're all ridiculous. The Tuck rule that started it all with the Raiders, the 25-point comeback on 2-5 over the Falcons in the year they moved the touchback to 25 yards because it was the 97th season, the 25th prime. So anyway, Columbus week, more of the racism rituals, more of the same old numbers. And again, we're documenting the same types of things year after year. So with that said, I've laid it out there. Rig football, organic side, tonight's TFR. If you want to call in or join the stream and share your related story. But these are the two subjects I've laid out there for tonight. So if you're calling in or participating tonight, these are the subject matters. And again, your side of the organic story, your side of taking advantage of rig sports, what this knowledge has done for you. All fair game subjects. And we got a few people in the stream already. We got Shelby in Decoding with Cody, and Shelby was on here first, so he gets the floor first. And again, if you guys can get out the best of it in 5 or less minutes, hopefully we can get through a lot of points tonight. And you guys are welcome to stay on in the panel. And as other things come up, you're welcome to talk more. But when you guys are introduced, if you can get that introduction line out in 5 minutes or less, that would be awesome. And Shelby, thank you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm not paying that much attention to the NFL, but I have been looking a lot at the history and matching up a lot of these quarterbacks and head coaches, kind of like you found with Green Bay. It seems that, all the successful teams seem to have that same type of the matches, like here. See if I can share my screen here. Ginger, down. Sorry, my dog wants to get on too. So,
do you know how to share your screen on your end, Shelby?
Let's see.
There should be a control down there to share your screen.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I had to go through a big deal to do it here. Let's see here.
I think there's a button down below that says present, and then under there it should say share screen if it's the same as it is on my end.
Yeah, then it's sending me to security and privacy, and so.
You probably have an Apple product.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, the first time you approve it, then it won't ask again. But Apple has, it's just like some of these security things. Like, come on, man, why wouldn't I just?
Yeah, this is stupid.
If there's a website, I can go to it for you.
Basically just some things that I made on my computer here. So, okay, let's see. Google Chrome.
Oh, he dropped himself. But you can come back, Shelby. Hey, Decoding with Cody, since while he's fixing his thing out, you got the floor, friend.
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you.
So this topic is, again, I've been on the 57s. I got on the TFR last week and shared a bunch about the 57. And now I found something amazing on the Colts Broncos game that is obvious. I mean, I don't see how any more obvious they are making this. But when you see it, I'm sure you'll understand. I'm going to try to share my screen now. Hopefully it works. Just hit present. Share.
Okay, I see it. Okay, so your screen's up now. You might want to change the thumbnail you're on.
All right, so can you see, did I just change the screen?
Your screen's up in Power Field at Mile High.
Okay. I'll say, so the first thing I wanted to mention is that the final score of that game was 129, like electricity. And the name of the stadium is EMP, right? Like an EMP attack.
Right.
And it's in Power Field at Mile High.
Okay.
And if you look up, so you've got a connection here with the EMP and power, and you've got the Mile High. And if you look up high altitude EMP, just like Denver's at high altitude, you're going to see the first thing that comes up is high altitude electromagnetic pulse, also known as HEMP. So they named their stadium, and the reason I believe the score was 12-9, not only because of the 201. I mean, this is a 201 connection too, because we know that 129 is 201 in base 8.
Right.
And so they had this score be 129, and I knew as soon as I saw that. And remember, we're in the 57th season, or the 57th Super Bowl, and electricity not only equals 129, but it also equals 57.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over to the Gematria here, and I'm going to show you how there's a bunch of events right now that are lining up with this. So during the game, we had a concussion again. And remember, concussion equals 57. I don't have it up here, but it does equal 57.
Right.
And just like electricity. And Naheem Hines, who was the running back who got the ball thrown to him and got a concussion from Matt Ryan, the Jesuit, he catches it, and he gets a concussion from Nick Bonito. So you guys can see down here at the bottom, you had the running back, Naheem Hines, catch the ball, who equals 129. You had number 42, Nick Bonito, who equals 129. And remember, the score is 129, electricity equals 129, all that. The other thing here, if you look up at the top here, lightning strike equals 223 and 88. Remember, we had a lightning strike on Obama's birthday.
Hold on. Before you get into this part, I just want to emphasize things, Bill. Again, you guys, 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. It's like the owner of the Colts, Jim Irsay. His birthday is June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. You just saw Georgia beat Alabama in the college championship, and Vince Dooley was in attendance, the old Georgia coach who won the championship. His name equals 129, and he watched Georgia win the championship on his 129th day of his age in Indianapolis, the 201 town. And they put up on the screen that he won 201 games as a college football coach. So this 129-201 thing is a big connection. Again, 201 is huge with the Jesuits. The first Jesuit university, Georgetown's 129. So again, he's talking about the game where Indianapolis won on Thursday Night Football, but then he's also seeing a larger symbolic, factoring in with this, predictive programming for taking down the power grid, which they keep talking about. I know a few years ago, Derek had a video on a lightning strike that delayed the game at the Broncos Stadium as well. That was super ritualistic. I might even had a presentation on that myself. It was a while back, but go ahead.
Yeah, so and that leads perfectly into the Obama thing, because Denver and Obama are, if you guys can see here, Barack Obama and Denver have a match, right? 68 and 32. And we had a lightning strike on Obama's birthday, okay? And if you go down to this name, Amber Escudero, which is down here right above Nick Bonito, her name also equals 129. She was the only one to survive on that day.
Okay.
And she equals 129 and 57. So you have the concussion player in the game, his name equals 129. The guy who hit him equals 129. And the girl who survived the lightning strike equals 129. All going back to electricity, which I guess I forgot to even put up here that it equals 129, but it does. And so what I'm saying here is all these events this year that have been to do with like lightning strikes and power outages, I know I did measure from the Rogers outage in Canada. I can't remember what it was, but that was another one that happened this year. But here's the big one. I didn't even show this yet. Just notice the name of the field. And Power Field at Mile High equals 223, 371, and 110. Just like electromagnetic pulse equals 223. So if it wasn't enough that I saw that the name of the stadium has EMP right in it, and then electromagnetic pulse matches the name of the field, like, it's obvious, right? Am I the only one who doesn't see this, or like? So
No, I've seen it because Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that BMW commercial where there was an electromagnetic
Jupiter.
pulse.
Yeah, he knocks out the power, right?
Yeah, and Arnold
Yep.
Schwarzenegger's name matches electromagnetic pulse.
223. Yeah, 223.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the name of the field, and and this goes back to the Germany and Colorado connection, because Germany, and the Nazis and how Arnold Schwarzenegger is part of that whole thing. And then obviously, we know that Denver and Germany are matches in Gematria, or Colorado and Germany. So, and then you had him at the Super Bowl. And so the name of the field, equals 223, and then electromagnetic pulse. Not only does it equal 223, but it matches in 110 as well. Adolf Hitler equals 110. And not only that, guys, but Russell Carrington Wilson, the quarterback for the Broncos, equals 317. Electromagnetic pulse equals 317.
When you write out Russell C. Wilson, it equals 201.
Yeah, and well, the Carrington, you guys know about the Carrington event, right? I'm sure, Zach, you do.
No, what is that?
It's one of the biggest power outages that they have in recorded history from a solar flare.
Oh,
it happened in 1859. And it's called the Carrington event. And what's funny is the game after the Broncos play the Colts, guess what their next game is against? The Chargers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would make sense. Yeah.
And guess who they play after that? And that's where I get even more interesting. They play the Jets after that.
Oh, the Jets, okay.
And guess what New York City equals? 129 and 57, just like electricity.
Yeah. Yeah. They've had some big blackouts.
So what I'm saying is, with all this Russia stuff going on right now and all these clues they just left in this game, it just seems really, interesting that this is exactly how. I mean, it's no coincidence the game ended up being 12-9. So. And another thing I want to mention about New York is that I told you the other day that there's a wrestling group right now that's called the Judgment Day, and Judgment Day equals 129. And the leader of that group is out of New York. He's from New York City, and his name equals 129 and 57, just like New York City, Damian Priest. And that's all about Satanism, because Satanism equals 57 also. So it's all about the 57 and the 129. They seem to come together perfectly. So yeah, and I'm sure you can add more to that. Also, another thing is that Denver in September, they were handing out bug out bags.
Mm-hmm.
And so there you go again. I mean, it's so obvious that they're preparing this narrative. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but I mean, remember, if the Ravens make it to the Super Bowl this year, what happened at the last Super Bowl when they were, when they had the lights go out. So, I mean,
Super Bowl 47, the Harbaugh Bowl, 33-minute blackout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just notice that bug out bag, it matches Power Grid 115. So
did you just like try looking at things like what's 129 days later?
No, I actually didn't do any of that. Actually, I didn't do much of the dates yet because I've been kind of doing some other things, but I told you, that November 4th was
the Super Bowl is 129 days later.
Is it really?
Super Bowl 57 is 129 days later. So there's your 57, 129.
Oh my God.
Because you're saying that happened at Thursday, right? The October 6th game. So
yeah, and that's the day of Jupiter too. So it happened on a Thursday.
That's right. Yeah. So Super Bowl 57. And the Super Bowl this year is not too far from LA. It's in Phoenix. Phoenix rising from the ashes. I know they did a big ritual with Roe versus Wade and the overturning and the big protest in Phoenix. So.
And you'll like this one, Zach. Guess who Russell Wilson shares a birthday with?
His birthday is November 29th. I don't know
Janet
who else.
Napolitano.
Oh, is that right? Janet Napolitano gave the warning. That's funny.
I don't think that's a coincidence either.
Huh.
That's
Just
why I
like
think I mean I don't know when this fake outage is going to happen. And also the reason I put Jericho in here is because if you go on YouTube and you look up a video, Jericho EMP, there's a show that came out in 2006 called Jericho. And in the show, the very first the whole show is about a nuclear attack on the United States. But in the very first episode, the guy's driving across the state line from Denver, and he sees a nuke go off in the sky over Denver.
Okay.
And it basically knocks out. And then a couple episodes later, they have an EMP attack.
Okay.
So,
Jericho show. Huh.
and then also The Simpsons had a show with an EMP and bug out bags, just like Denver was handing out bug out bags. That's why everyone was trying to say that 9/24 this year was going to be a power outage, because The Simpsons episode was season 9, episode 24. So, but yeah, I think that's all I have. I'm sure you can even take this farther and add, other people can add to this, but I think it's pretty obvious what they're doing here.
Okay, Jericho came out September 20th. That's the 263rd day of the year, 2006. So a little more than 16 years ago.
The same day, remember the blackout, LA blackout, the 911? That aired on 9/20 as well.
Really? Okay. 206. Well, doesn't that make sense? The 263rd day of the year, 56th prime. The word light is 56. So turning out the light.
Yep.
So, and then it ended on March 25th, 2008. Can be written 25-3, like 253, the 22nd triangular number. Here we are in 22. But yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, Janet Napolitano said it's not a matter of if, but when. She said the next 9/11 would be the power grid going down in a major way. And again, she was a governor in Arizona who hosts the Super Bowl. So what you found is synced with the Super Bowl. And yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Very interesting. All right. Appreciate it. We'll let Shelby get on because I think he fixed his problem. But thank you, Cody. Good one.
Yep, I'll be on pretty much the whole night if something comes up. So
okay. All right, Shelby, you got it figured out?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
We'll try again here. I wanted to add to that last thing Cody just said, that the fact that the commercial last year was a BMW commercial, and B is the second letter of the alphabet, M's the 13th, and W is the 23rd. So that would be the day after the upcoming Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's part of the riddle or not, but that's just a thought. So
that's Lupercalia. That's been a day for weird stuff to happen in the past. R.I.P. Antonin Scalia, 44th day of the year.
The Chargers and Broncos do play one day before the 10/18 date, the Luke 10/18 lightning from heaven date.
Okay.
Satan falling like lightning from heaven. The Chargers play their next game against the Denver on 10/17, one day before the 10/18.
Okay. Very interesting.
All right. I think I figured it out. Can you?
Yeah, you did. Let me put it up for you. Okay.
Oh,
your screen is up. Yeah.
All right. So you got the Hurricane Ian. You got the 121, the 203, and the 77. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sums to 203, 77, 121. It's not in the exact same ciphers, but it's kind of swapped around like that. Then on Saturday, September 24th, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency. And state of emergency sums to 251 in reverse, Super Bowl 57, 251. And seemed like 2 days after that, the 26th, is when the media started hyping that Hurricane Ian was becoming a Category 2 hurricane, and that it was going towards Tampa Bay. And of course, that was the 269th day of the year.
Okay.
And that's the 57th prime number. Am I right?
269, 57th prime. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's there's that. So does this? I was going to ask you about this. Like when you have the numbers jumbled like this, 181, 118, you have the same digits, but it's a different number. I mean that kind of seems like a match. I see that a lot. What is that? What are your thoughts on that?
It's similar, right? It's not exact, but it's similar. It would have 118 and 181 would both break down to one in numerology, and they're both made up with the same digits. That there's a term for that. Um, but yeah, they're definitely in the same ballpark.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Good. So I was going to show you this here. So I made this little card here. This is the Colts. They've won 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl 5, and then the last one with Peyton Manning. The last one they were at. Tony Dungy was the head coach at the time of the Peyton Manning Super Bowl, and then Don McCaffrey was the coach from the Super Bowl 5 era. So their names match here in the English ordinal. Then you got Johnny Unitas's name here matches Peyton Williams Manning here, and also in English ordinal. But then if you look in full reduction, Tony Dungy's name matches Johnny Unitas's name, and Don McCaffrey matches Peyton Manning. And then Johnny Unitas and Peyton Manning both match in reverse full reduction.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
So you can see how they're kind of repeating the past.
Yeah.
They've been doing this a lot. So I haven't made cards for all the findings that I make, but that's something that I enjoy doing. I wanted to find out what's your next travel destination? What city do you think you're going to be going to?
Well, since I'm back here now, I think the next time I travel, I got to make it back to Atlanta because that's a big part of the plan. But probably the next place I go to from here will be the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, big tech, to get them about the censorship. So
yeah. Well, what kind of other events will you cover while you're there?
Well, if I'm at Silicon Valley, I'll just be talking about why they shouldn't be censoring us. And again, we're the only community that's put out any truth during the time of the pandemic. All the stuff we said's 100% on point. I should never lost a single video.
So. Yeah, I mean, there's still retards running around with masks on where I'm at, but
well, it might be the SADs before long for those same type of people. So
and these people are dumb. They're just stupid. Like, what's wrong with you? You see them in the car still by them. Just man. I mean, it's really the psychological warfare on people is working. On some people, not on everyone, not on people like this community, but I mean, the retards are everywhere. Jeez.
Yeah.
What about the Atlanta Olympics bombing? That's something that could be talked about.
Indeed, go to Atlanta. Got to talk about the Olympics bombing.
And what other events do you think of when it comes to Atlanta?
Well, I mean, you had the Rashard Brooks thing recently.
All right. Well, I'm thinking
you had Interstate 85 burned down, blamed on the crackhead right after the Falcons lost the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
You got the 85-acre police training facility they want to open up now. Again, Atlanta, Georgia, 85. So.
All right. Well, I was thinking about making some of these cards, laminating them, about some of these topics. So when you go somewhere, maybe the people there with you can hand them out, so people have something to take with them when they when they approach and want to know more.
Indeed. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So.
All right, cool.
Well, very cool, Shelby. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. And we got a new friend on the show, 13 Moon Goon. What's up, 13 Moon?
What's going on, Zach? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man.
Hey, first thing I want to say, man, I know you guys are on a certain topic.
Oh, my God. I know you've never been on. How could I not know who 13 Moon Goon was before you even spoke? All right. What's up, Cleveland?
Hey, you were in my city, Zach. You was in my city a few weeks ago, man. I felt a certain type of way because when I was at work, man, I saw you jumped on a live stream. So immediately I went to my supervisor. I was like, yo, man, I got to leave. I got to go. And check this out: the people that I work with, they know that I'm into numbers. They see me doing numbers whenever I have downtime at my job. They see me like in my notebooks and things like that. So when I realized you was in Cleveland, I told my supervisor, like, hey man, I always, be in my books or whenever you see what I do, hey, I gotta go see this guy. I'm leaving, So he ripped me up for the day. He ripped me up for the day, like, hey, go do what you gotta do. By the time I got downtown, man, you were gone, bro. I was
That's
sick
messed up,
about
though.
it.
That's sorry about that. Sorry I missed you, but yeah, I only had so much time because I just busy one city to the next. So I
No,
will
I
come
understand
back.
that. I
I'll be back.
understand. No doubt, no doubt. Whether we meet when you come here or if I catch you in another city, another state. But I did have something I want to lay on you tonight, man, because I don't think it was like the last show over Gematria, the last show on Wednesday, man. I tried to get in. Honestly, man, I ended up falling asleep during the stream. I didn't really get a chance to say what I wanted to say that I felt like was kind of pertinent for the time. So I just saw that you're on, so I jumped on. Hopefully I can like change the subject and you guys can kind of like hear what I'm saying for a couple minutes real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I have reason to believe that the Cleveland Guardians, formerly known as the Cleveland Indians, will make it to the World Series.
Okay.
Now, and I'm gonna just throw out a few pieces of evidence I think that supports this information. First off, the owner of the Cleveland Guardians, formerly known as the Cleveland Indians, Larry Dolan, his birthday, right? His birthday is a span of 263 days from Game 1 of the World Series. So we know what that number means, right?
56
Larry
prime. Okay.
Exactly. But that's not it, though, Zach. Check this out, though. Now, the manager of the Cleveland Guardians, Terry Francona, his birthday is April 22nd, right?
Uh-huh.
From his birthday till Game 1 of the World Series is 189 days. Now, why does that number stand out? Well, if you type in the name Cleveland in the Gematriator, it sums to 78. Cleveland sums to 78.
Right.
7-8 looks like a date, July 8th.
Right.
Am I right?
Indeed.
July 8th is the 189th day of the year.
Okay.
So that made me look like, okay, well, the owner has, a span is 263 days. That's a 56 prime. So that looks interesting. Terry Francona, the manager of the Guardians, his birthday is 189 days from the beginning of Game 1 at the World Series, which I believe is October 28th. But
Okay.
this is what made me think that more so that the Cleveland Guardians are actually going to the World Series, more so than the first two pieces of information that I've given. Because let's keep in mind, this is the first year that the Indians are playing as the Guardians.
Right.
The name change, right?
Right.
Now, Guardians sum to 59 in reverse reduction. In the 4-base ciphers, Guardian sums at 59. So I had to take it to the 13-moon calendar, Zach. I had to take it to the 13-moon calendar. Now, am I right? So you tell me this, Zach. This is the 118th World Series, correct?
Correct.
Now, if you go to the 13-moon calendar, and because you can only write the number 118, it can only show up in certain ways if you try to convert that day into like a calendar day on a Gregorian calendar. 118 can look like November 8th. It can look like January 18th. Or if you reverse it, it can be August 11th. Those are the 3 dates that you can kind of like look at that number as.
Okay.
So if you go to the 11th moon in the 8th day on the 13-moon calendar, you go to the 11th moon in the 8th day, a lot like the number 118. The Gregorian day that falls on the 11th moon in the 8th day is May 9th. Zach. May 9th, 5-9. A lot like the gematria of Guardians, which sums to 59. And no, go ahead.
Oh, that is very interesting. Okay.
And another thing about that is Cleveland also sums to 48. And when you now, if you take that number and reverse it, 11-8, and you reverse it as 8-11. So if you go to the 8th moon and the 11th day on a 13 moon calendar, and then you will see that the Gregorian day that falls on in that spot is February 17th. That's the 48th day of the year. And Cleveland also sums to 48. You know what I mean? So that's to me, the Guardians, as far as like all the teams I've seen that's left in baseball, the Guardians have the strongest narrative. Now, maybe this could be coming from, a certain bias because I'm in the city. But it seems to me like the Guardians have the biggest 118 connection. Now, check this out, though. The Guardians play the Yankees this week, next round of the playoffs. And the Yankees are the best team in baseball. So can you imagine if the Guardians actually got past the Yankees? Everybody are probably putting their money on the Yankees to get past the Guardians. But we both know in this community, New York sums to 33, Cleveland sums to 33. So that's probably why we're playing each other. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to lay on the team, man. I haven't really been following too much of the sports picks, that the community be putting out, man. I put so much time into other things, man, but I had to lay this on the community because I didn't know whether anybody was looking at the Guardians as a potential World Series contender. And if I look at it from a 13 moon calendar viewpoint, the 59, really, that's the biggest piece of information for me that shows that they just might get there because the 11th moon and the 8th day is May 9th. That's 5-9, just like the gematria of the name Guardians. And we know they do things ahead of time, man. So they knew when they gave them this name what it would sum to, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to lay that on everybody tonight.
Well, very interesting as always. And for years, I've been hearing the brilliance with the 13 moon calendar. And every time I hear you talk, I'm like, okay, I got to start doing that. It's got to become part of the decodes. And then I never get around to it. So I'm grateful you've never stopped calling in and sharing this information because I know it's very important. And I just had Rod yesterday telling me I got to pay more attention to the moon phases. So yeah, the moon does play a big part. And I appreciate it.
I noticed when Derek made the upgrade to you want to call it an upgrade to the Gematrinator. I mean, there's some pretty decent things on there, man, that wasn't on there before. Maybe I'm just looking at it from my phone because I'm always using things from my phone. I don't necessarily use a desktop, so I'd imagine my experience with the website would probably be a little bit more fluent if I was using it on a desktop or a laptop versus on my phone. But on my phone, it's kind of funky using it on my phone. But overall, though, man, I think you did add a few extra things to the website that actually kind of made the website a little better, man. So, it is what it is.
And he'll keep working on it. So I think it'll continue to improve.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you allowing me to get in, man, and share that information with the community tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And it's nice to have a face now with the voice. And appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna chime off though, man, and tune into the rest of the show.
Okay. All right. You have a good night. All right. So he likes the Guardians in the AL. My team in the AL actually got knocked out. Oh man, they got knocked out. My team who I expect to win the World Series is still alive, but the team I thought they would play, God, it made so much. Here, I'll tell you what. This is why not all good riddles. So you can do great research, and sometimes the perfect alignment doesn't work out. But check this out: Dodgers record versus Blue Jays in postseason. Or hold on, maybe it's all time. Blue Jays all time. Is that what it is? Interleague play. Wait a minute. Oh, did they play more games this year? Wait a minute. What in the world? Oh, I know what it is. I know what it was. Blue Jays all-time World Series record. That's what it was. I forgot what the combination was I was looking for, but you see how the Blue Jays are 8-4 in the World Series all time? I had it dreamed up where the Dodgers would beat them in Game 7, and their record would have become 11-8 in the 118th World Series. Their star springer George Springer, his name's 118, and the ownership of the Blue Jays, they're also 118. So I like that connection to the 118th World Series back in spring training. But obviously, it's not going to be that. The Mariners, their manager, we thought the Mariners would make the playoffs and end their drought. We thought the Phillies would make the playoffs and end their drought this year. So, I mean, we got a lot of things right. But the manager for the Mariners, his full name is also 118. He's who knocked out the Blue Jays. But yeah, it's not always the number connected to the team that goes with the World Series number. It's not that every year. So it's always got rhyme and reason to it. And some years it is, but it's not going to be for the Blue Jays this year. So, but we can't be too mad. We had a great week of football, great week of calls in baseball with the day Aaron Judge would hit the home run on Yom Kippur, passing Roger Maris on Yom Kippur, like how he passed Babe Ruth on Yom Kippur, the Jewish day for judgment, atonement for your sins. And, nobody's emailed tonight to join the show. So maybe people are out of the loop because we haven't done a Sunday show in a minute. We got less viewership tonight. Well, that's because we're also not on Gematria Effect News 24. Right when that channel finally was starting to get decent viewers and we were getting up to near 1,000 people in live stream, of course, they put the channel on the double strike on the verge of deletion. But I'm sure a lot of people are watching football tonight too. Here, Nick wants to get on. Nick, I'm going to send you an invite right now. Invite going out to Nick. So check your inbox for the invite and join the show as quickly as you want. Shout out to Sarah Sutherland who sent in a $10 Cash App. I appreciate that, Sarah. Sarah always active with the donations. And as she's told us before, she gets paid well. I appreciate it, Sarah. You're very generous. Joshua in the chat is also linking the link if you want to get on the show. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research on the American League for the baseball playoffs because my team did get knocked out by the local Seattle Mariners. And yeah, I'm sure all the money's pouring in on the Yankees. Yankees had a dominant season. So did the Mets. New York is just booming right now, aren't they, in sports? It's been a minute since New York had anything going on with sports. The Knicks haven't done anything forever. The Giants and Jets have been pretty stale for a while. Last time New York was in the World Series was the 111th. Of course, New York won 11. That was the Mets losing to the Royals back when Queen Elizabeth was alive, born on the 111th day of the year. I figured they'd do that San Diego LA matchup. So I see that's what it is. Did I just hear you, Cody?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, I noticed on the Monday night game, San Francisco versus, can't remember who they were playing, but Garoppolo threw a 57-yard TD pass to
Deebo Samuel.
Deebo.
Yeah.
I noticed something interesting. I'm not saying that they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but it is interesting that Garoppolo, he equals 57. His name equals 57 in Chaldean. And last year, Cooper Kupp won Super Bowl MVP, and his name equals 56, and it was Super Bowl 56. So the Chaldean cipher was pretty accurate on that. But anyway, his name equals 57. He threw a 57-yard TD pass to Deebo Samuel. And that was on 10-3, like 103, like it's the 103rd season. Right. And if you measure from Garoppolo's birthday to the Super Bowl, it's 103 days.
Is that right? That's interesting. Again, O.J. Simpson, who's a big part of this year's season, he finished his career with the 49ers. His last NFL carry was a 10-yard rush on third down. 10-3 was the anniversary of his decision, which was a California-based story. So,
I mean, that could have just been a ritual for the Super Bowl in general, just because he threw a 57-yard touchdown pass on 10-3, like 103. But, it's just interesting that his birthday is 103 days after the Super Bowl. And I know the coach has a connection with the Super Bowl too, but I can't remember it.
Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach. His dad used to coach the Broncos. Are you trying to share your screen right now?
No, I was just trying to see when Shanahan's birthday was, because I know I had a connection with that, but
Okay. Yeah, again, for anyone in the chat who'd like to be a part of the show tonight, here, I'll put the link in the chat one more time. But normally we got more participants.
where's
Unless a lot of people haven't.
D26 at?
Yeah, maybe a lot of people are still stuck on Gematria Effect News 24 and haven't figured out the new channel. But just hoping we get some people on to share their stories. Again, a lot of big winners today. Lots of people hitting me up about the organic side, but then I guess people get stage fright when it comes to sharing on the show. So,
Well, I can share a little bit of thing that happened with me organically. It's not like a real serious thing, but you know, when I created my Gematria channel back in, I created my channel because you know, all your work, I've been watching you for like a couple years, and I finally decided to like actually start doing it, practicing it myself, and I started my channel on the Queen's day that she became queen. You know, the day her dad died in history, which was February 6th. And I didn't know that was when I started my channel that day that it was her day, and I didn't really know much about her at the time. I was just kind of learning, and you had just mentioned that she might die in May, so I was just starting to get turned on to the Queen, but I didn't really even know a lot about her at the time. And so I started my channel on her day that she became queen, and then I named my channel Decoding with Cody. And I didn't really know why I chose that. I know my name was Cody, and I was like, okay, I used to always get called Code Man when I was younger, so it's like I almost have like the perfect name for this. And so I'll just use my name. I figured I had to use my name in the name of the channel somehow. So I just named it Decoding with Cody, but I changed the C because my name is normally spelled with a C, and I changed it to a K because the K is the 11th letter. It looked cool. So, and then a couple months later, I actually looked up the gematria of my name, or the name of my channel, Decoding with Cody, and it's a direct match in all 4 ciphers to Queen Elizabeth II.
huh.
So I started my
Started your
channel on,
channel on February 6th.
yep, and I named my channel that same day, and I named it without even knowing. I named it exactly a match with her, and I did not know that she would be the main topic of my channel, because if you go back and you look at a lot of my videos, a lot of them were about the Queen, because I noticed how she was kind of connected to all the events. You know, she was connected to 9/11. I was trying to see when she was going to pass. And then and did I tell you about the WWE event that happened like 5 days before she died?
No, what happened?
So WWE had an event, and when I saw that this event was going to be happening in September 3rd, it was called Clash at the Castle. And the first thing that came to mind was, okay, Clash at the Castle. Like, okay, the son is clashing with the Queen and he's going to replace her, right? Like, that was the exact symbolism that I was getting. And I was like, okay, so the Queen's probably going to die in September. I even said that in one of my videos. And but I did not know that that September 8th was the Virgin Mary's birthday. That's the whole fact I missed. If I did know that, I might have, been looking at that date. But yeah, so that show, Clash at the Castle, aired 5 days before she died, and the Scottish wrestler lost that match there. And remember, she died in Scotland, so it was a clear ritual for that. It was just like WWE was just telling us what was going to happen. So
That's how they do it. Yeah, it's all part of one big sick script. We got 2 new people in the chat. Shout out to Arthur, Simple Truth TV, longtime veteran in the community who just pounded pavement with us in New York and spoke brilliantly on the streets. What's up, Arthur?
What's going on, Zach? How's everybody doing?
Doing all right?
So, we talking about the organic side to the code?
You can talk about the organic side. You can talk about rig sports. You can talk about both. Whatever you want to do.
Would I be able to share my screen?
Uh-huh. Do you know how to do it? Down at the bottom, there should be something that says present screen or present. And then under the present, you should see where it says like share screen.
Okay, I got it. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, here, I'm going to put it up so everybody can see it. All right, you're up.
Okay, so this is actually something that I spoke about like 2 years ago. So my father, he died at the age of 46 from cancer, and he died at the hospital. And I remember I was still a little kid when this happened, but my mother told me that he was in the hospital for like 6 months, and then the doctor went up to her and said, your husband is gonna die on January 5th. And I was like, at that point, I didn't understand like how the doctors knew the exact date. But now that I'm older and now that I'm familiar with this code, I'm like, how did the doctor know that he was gonna die exactly on January 5th? But this is Tucson right here. He was born on September 10th, 1951, and he died in the year 98 on the 5th of January, right? And this shit blew my mind because I'm like, okay. So I revisited his death, and then I noticed from his birthday to his death, it was his 118th day of his age, and he died from cancer. And cancer is 118. And notice he was born Fernando Arturo Pichardo. His name is 118. So this is when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on because at first I thought like maybe this was just organic, or maybe the doctors executed him on January 5th because like I said, he was there for 6 months, but like around December of the prior year of 97, the doctor already confirmed to my mother that he was gonna die on January 5th. I'm like, so everybody was already crying, everybody was sad. My mother came up to me and said, your dad is only gonna be alive for another 2 weeks. I'm like, how do you know that? Maybe don't miracles happen? Like, but she like, no. The doctor came up to me. She said that let's get ready for the funeral because he's not gonna make it past the 5th, and he died exactly on January 5th, like just like the doctor said. But then it blew my mind when I measured from his birthday to the day he died. It was his 118th day of his age. Of course, cancer is also 118, like death, and his full name in Gematria is 118. So I don't know. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, was this just an organic death? Was he just meant to die on January 5th, or what did the hospitals execute him on that day because are they familiar with the code or something? I don't know. It blew my mind.
It is mind blowing. And you know what's funny? I was just talking to somebody on the phone about two of the deaths that have happened in my family in the same number. The year everybody was focused on August 11th, 2019, my sister's dad ended up dying that day. Her and I have different fathers, but he died on August 11th, 118, 118 days before my sister's birthday. He died from cancer as well. And then my aunt recently died from cancer, and she also died 118 days from her birthday. And those are the two deaths that have happened in the time I've been aware of Gematria. Well, my grandmother died on May 5th the other year, my dad's mom, and she died the distance in days from her birthday that match up with her name Gematria in the same cipher. It wasn't 118 in her case, but two of the three deaths in my family since I've been aware of this knowledge were both 118 as well. And as we know, when we talk about deaths in the world of entertainment, that number shows up a lot. So again, I mean, is it that somebody discovered something a long time ago about this world and death and that number? And sorry about your losing your father at a young age too, Arthur. I didn't know that you'd lost your father at a young age, so I never knew that before. But sorry about that. But it is mind blowing. You're right. It is mind blowing, and it just makes you wonder.
Because we know how the hospitals are, they do conduct rituals. Because we've seen a lot of rituals with these hospitals. So I'm
That's
thinking like,
true.
is there a possibility that maybe the hospital executed him that day, or I mean that is not. I think that's a possibility as well. But I mean, I will never know for sure though. Just
It is possible too, because we do know really nefarious stuff's going on in the hospitals, and so I mean, it is a possibility that there is an organic side to it, but that is very strange. So, um, did you want to
yeah.
share more about that, Arthur? We got Slick Nick in waiting, but if you got more, you still got the floor.
No, that's just about it. That was like one of the only organic things that I've experienced before. But
Sure.
everything else that I cover is not organic. Just to make that point.
Well, again, sorry that happened to you, losing your father at a young age.
Yeah, I was only 9 years old.
Yeah, young
I
age,
was
man.
I didn't understand how. Like, how does the doctor know the exact date? Like, how do they know that?
That is the really weird part. Yeah, why would they forecast that he would die on that
And
day?
they did it 2 weeks prior to his death. It's like,
They gave him 2 weeks to live, huh?
yeah, it's just like, how do you know? I mean, so you telling me that he can't survive cancer? Like, I mean, millions of people survive it.
People do know about this knowledge besides just us. They're just not online teaching about it. It's just like Yasid, who came out with his son Malik. He said the way he found me is he had it was actually his psychologist told him that he wasn't wrong about seeing certain numbers in his life and he should look into the subject of gematria. And he started researching it. It was how he ended up finding our community. But there are people that are aware of this knowledge, so it is hard to say.
I mean, we was talking about the 118th World Series, and it reminded me of my dad that died on his 118th of his age. So that's why I just wanted to talk about that, though.
Well, thanks for coming on and sharing that. You're welcome to stay with us as long as you want. If your thoughts done, we can let Slick Nick share what he's got going on.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Well, all right. What's up, Slick Nick?
How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Thanks for coming on. New face.
Yeah, I wanted to put my face out there, and I've actually been calling in for a little while now.
You're the dude who knows about the Harry Potter guy today, right? That's you.
Yeah, how did you remember
Yeah, man.
that?
The guy who caught Harry Potter, and how that was synced up with Rogers losing today. This is him right here, man. He knows everything about Josh Allen and his cereals and all sorts of stuff. So what's up?
And also, I'm from Douglas, so I want to put my face out there. You know, I'm from Stoneman Douglas, the shooting out in Florida, Parkland,
Okay.
and yeah, I want to put my face out there. And yeah, that Harry Potter thing with the 11 weeks in one day was just just a lock. And I did a little parlay with these Saints, Vikings, and Giants, and it paid well, of course. I mean, when you know the knowledge, it's easy. Leif Erikson Day with the Vikings, like how can you not? I mean, come on.
Indeed. Yeah, Leif Erikson Day was, come on.
And I just wanted to know about Roderick and his ways that he does now and what he calls the golden ratio number. Can you explain that and like what that is?
You better sign up for Rod's Patreon. He's on a new formula. I mean, he's using the gematria, but he's tied into the moon phases, and he's got some favorite numbers that he likes to see. So
those moon phases were kind of hitting today. I mean, I was kind of shocked. It was they were doing good today.
The Aries 25 thing.
Yeah. And with the Bengals right now, I think the Bengals with the you were saying about how black versus white QBs can go 2-5 today. And I think you might be spot on about that because the Bengals are using white uniforms. And when you type white in, it equals 25. So imagine if I see
Columbus and white, both 25. And right now, black quarterbacks are 0-5 versus white quarterbacks this week. So Mahomes and Jackson would both have to win. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens by the end of this game. This game's not over, so we'll find out.
Yeah. They put up some numbers for the black uniforms because Ravens were wearing the black uniforms, so it's like a white versus black, you know.
Right.
All black uniforms, they said. So
yeah,
no, they're always in some way. Now, for a little bit of the organic side, I wanted to spit out real quick. My first name is Nicholas, and in the most simple, it is 81, and my birthday is August 1st.
Perfect.
And I think it's funny, the day I was born, August 1st, 2001, a month before 9/11 pretty much, they did a ban on human cloning in the US, and I'm always like with cloning and everything like that. So it's just funny how I was born on that day. Like you were born on like the coldest day or hottest day? Like, I don't know.
I got to go back and look at that. You're born on the day of the ban of cloning. Cloning became a subject in the 90s with Dolly the sheep, and sheep equals 53, and that was unveiled on the 53rd day of the year. I want to say Dolly the sheep is 53 as well. I got to check that real quick. Sheep is 53, unveiled on the 53rd day of the year, and Dolly the sheep. Or no, I swear there's something else that I got to go back and check with Dolly, but okay.
Yeah, it's just funny how. So if this is all with like Jewish mysticism and the Kabbalah, and does God really speak to us through like say an evil code or like?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be evil, right? I mean, there's some things that happen by the numbers that aren't evil.
I know
Uh,
it's crazy.
but and again, let's just say what the story that Arthur just shared about his father passing. You said your father was 46, Arthur?
Yeah, he died at the age of 46.
So that's also, I mean, because that's just another number connected to death.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, if his father was killed by the hospital, that's evil. If he died organically, again, we know how connected those numbers are to death. That there could be.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, someday if I have a child, I'm probably going to run the numbers on the child's name, and if his numbers add up to 118, I'm probably be like, you know what? Let's change the spelling a little bit because we do know that number's fateful, and I mean. Sadly, I mean, if Arthur's father did pass organically, that it could be just the fateful element of having those numbers in your name. I mean,
it's all like all things happen for a reason at that point.
Yeah, the only thing is just strange is that the doctor predicted his death. That's the only. If he didn't predict his death on the exact date, I mean,
right?
You know how hard that is. I mean, how do you know?
Yeah, why would you say such a specific date? So you're that is a really fishy part about the story. Have you looked into if that doctor's still alive?
I don't know who the doctor was. I mean, I was 9 years old. So
okay, if you could go back and research that information somehow, if like your doctor's on his name's on like your dad's medical record somewhere, you might want to look him up.
That is a good idea.
You might want to look him up. So.
I might end up assaulting him.
Well, it might be a long time coming, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, look into the doctor. Maybe there's something else going on there. So
yeah, it's fishy. Because the Bronx, he died at the Bronx, Lebanon, and they've had a lot of rituals there. Like, I remember you covered something that happened at the Bronx, Lebanon years ago. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I forgot, but so many stories. So.
I mean, I've had even a family member put away by the numbers, which is pretty crazy. Big Jesuit ritual. I feel like it was called the Sunset Beach Murder, and it's out in California. And supposedly it was an 18 person stabbed. Like the guy got stabbed 18 times, and you all know IHS and 18. And it was. I think these people do put away innocent people by the code and kill innocent people by the code, and it's just how these people operate, and it's sick. So,
yeah, actually, now that you guys are saying that, I remember one other. Okay, there was a fourth death. I didn't have any blood relation to this person, but my mom's mother remarried her high school sweetheart because my grandfather, who I had bloodline to, he died many years ago when I was younger. But the man she was remarried to, he spent a real long time in the hospital in this little town called Devil's Lake, North Dakota. And I forget, it's like whatever the gematria is of Devil's Lake, that's how many days after his birthday it was that he died that corresponded with Devil's Lake. And that was back when I first started the research. So I think I only knew the two ciphers. But that also stood out to me. I was like, man, that's funny that he was in the hospital for such a long time and then he dies on the number that connects to Devil's Lake. And just also that name too, right? Devil's Lake. It's a weird lake in North Dakota that keeps growing and people can't figure out why it keeps expanding. It's taken a lot of homes because it just slowly grows over time. But yeah, I actually had that thought back then. I was like, God, could somebody in the hospital perform a ritual with this guy because he was just in there for so long? Is this like a way to clear a bed? But it makes you wonder.
This world, yeah. And then it really makes you wonder about the organic side. It's just as mind-boggling too.
Yeah, but just think about what they did with the C word, I mean, the CORONA word. How many people died at the hospitals?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, with the ventilators with the 201 on them.
Yeah.
So, okay, we got a few more people on deck. Just to let everybody say hello. Everyone's welcome to stay on the panel, and we can do it like a open conversation once everyone gets through. But Richard's up next, then Shu, then Evan. What's up, Richard?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
I hear you.
All right, cool. I want to share a little bit about the organic side, man. Not too sure if this is organic, but my uncle, he recently passed away, and he was a Knights of Columbus member, and I find it weird that he died on September 27th, and he died on a date with 78 numerology, and his name has the 78 in it. I don't know if that's organic or not. He died 35 days after his August 23rd birthday, and he's born on the 235th day of the year. And thus, Society of Jesus is 235. So,
He died on a Sunday then, and Sundays
yeah,
are
he died on a
78
Sunday.
day.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of suspicious deaths with 78 on Sunday. The
Yeah.
most suspicious was John Thompson's death, and then it
Yeah.
was
No, I mean, I
60s.
was just looking at that. I'm like, come on, man. What are the odds of that? So I'm not sure if that's organic or if that really is. Who knows, but he died of kidney failure. He did used to drink, he was a big alcoholic. So
He lived to be 78?
no. He passed away at 50.
Oh, 50, okay. Yeah, not
Yeah.
very old.
So yeah, he was young. He was a young guy. He just turned 50. So,
That's too bad.
yeah. But I found that kind of strange. So I mean, could be organic, who knows? But I know you did some work on the Knights of Columbus. They're not really that known. I mean, they're related to Skull and Bones, but
They have their headquarters in New Haven, Connecticut, like Yale.
right.
I'll tell you so here's something that stands out to me just from what I can say about the Knights of Columbus in 95. When I first moved to Seattle, when I was soul searching and when I was going back to school, I got a job at the group home working with these children in a tough spot. And I noticed that now I didn't know gematria back then. This is the early 2000s. But I noticed that it's on 95th Street. The home for those children's on 95th Street. And the Knights of Columbus used to come there once a month to do something with the children.
Right.
And the thing that always weirded me out is not many children got adopted from there, but whenever they got adopted, they all got adopted to the northeast of the United States. And I used to think, like, why isn't anybody else closer around? We're in Seattle. How come everybody keeps getting adopted to the northeast?
Right.
And that's kind of where the Knights of Columbus are. And I just wonder, part of me just wonders if it's like a child trafficking thing, because I got to admit, like, you're not supposed to look up these children and try to find their social media. I can't find any of the children anywhere online that I used to remember, like that I still remember their names from back then. So I'm just like, what happened? Like, what are the odds that none of them have any social media? I
Right.
mean, yeah, and looking back at the group home, like I went there trying to help out children in need, but there were just some people in the faculty that gave me some really bad vibes, and I just wonder if that organization's actually part of again just like the larger, darker, deeper Catholic network, because the one charity group that was always there was the Knights of Columbus, and now you're talking about your uncle dying on that infamous day, the day leaving 95 days left in the year, just like that place is on 95th Street. So
Right. And he only lived for like 3 days, so that's kind of interesting too. 356.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you also see the shooting? There was a shooting in Tacoma, a mall shooting. It was yesterday, but they're reporting it today. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that there was a shooting in the Tacoma Mall.
Yeah. It was coded with 109 and 53. The shooting came, I think it came 241 days after Jay Inslee's birthday, the 53rd prime, and Jay Inslee's 53, and there's another 53 too that I did see there. I did forget, but I know Jay Inslee's 53, 241 days after his birthday.
Okay.
Tacoma's 109. Okay, that's what it is. Tacoma equals 53 forwards, and it equals 109 in reverse, just like the news today.
Shooting equals 109.
Yeah, shooting 109.
Released
Yeah,
Tacoma shooting news. Okay.
yeah. So I saw that, and I'm like, but again, I knew there was going to be some kind of active shooter because they have 61 day numerology and can active shooter 61.
Right. Yeah.
That fits me.
Indeed.
I don't know how close you are to Tacoma. I know you're in Washington, but don't know how close you are to Tacoma.
I used to be a lot closer when I was in Seattle. Seattle, for people who don't know, Seattle's about 30 minutes north of Tacoma. If you ever fly into the airport in Seattle, it's called SeaTac because it's 15 minutes south of Seattle and 15 minutes north of Tacoma. So,
I think that's about it. I don't really have anything else, but Yeah, I figured I'd share that. I thought that was weird. It's really been bugging me for the past couple of days, so I figured to come on and share it. But yeah, kind of weird, but it is kind of interesting too. So
Well, sorry for the loss of your uncle, and
yeah,
and the same thing. Hopefully, it wasn't nefarious, but it is what
yeah,
it
I
is.
hope not. But no. And then I tried asking him like a while back. I tried asking him about what are the what's the Knights of Columbus were? He didn't want to share anything with me. So obviously they can't.
Yeah,
Um, so,
yeah. Suspicious day to go.
yeah.
All right. Next up is Shu. What's up, Shu?
I'm just trying to do this on my cell phone. Can you hear me?
You loud and clear. You don't even have to put it that close to your head. You're coming through loud and
Oh,
clear.
that's perfect. That's perfect. So I don't know if this is more of a synchronicity. Yesterday, I tuned into your Patreon, and I was a little late, about a half hour late from the time you started. So I scrolled it back to the beginning, and I think that's around the time you were talking about the week starting on 10-6, the 10-6 record for the home teams, which I don't know if that's going to happen. That's paying attention to it right now, but as you were saying, I think, and I was listening to the recording of you, so you were ahead of me about a half hour.
Right.
And as you were saying that, explain as I was listening to it, number 16 BYU was the score against Notre Dame was 6-10, and it stayed on that for quite a while. And I was actually trying to call your show. I didn't get through. I turned it off by then, but I guess that's a little bit of synchronicity. And as I'm saying that now, the score in this game is 10-16. Just a little unusual things that happen. Paying attention to a lot of the clocks during the games, like third down and 17 seems to be an interesting number that appears. Lots of 7s and 31s appearing in combinations. There was a 7 minutes and 31 seconds when the score was. I think the Thursday night game they just got to 13 or something like that. No, it wasn't 13. It was 12-9. But anyway, I just wanted to share when I'm out in public, I try to spread this truth any way I could. And it seems like the most easiest way to do it is start randomly talking to people about what I know about Prince. How no one knows about the song on the Purple Rain album, "I Would Die for You." And isn't it interesting that Prince sang in a halftime show where it rained, the only time it ever rained at a halftime show? And then the kicker is the performance that he sang in 1998 in a concert overseas, Osama bin Laden, "Get Ready to Bomb." And it seems like the most people who are receptive to that the most are black people. White people are like, oh, it's all coincidences. And I get into the whole 9/11 spiel and they seem to fight it off. Black people are more receptive to all this. I think people know more about how they're getting shit on every day from the government. So it's no wonder they're more receptive to this shit.
Right. Huh.
But
Well, a lot
lots
of
of
good observations.
synchronicities out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, Notre Dame did beat BYU. The numbers looked better there for Notre Dame. Again, big Catholic school. Christopher Columbus's voyage paid for by the Catholic Church. So I don't think it's an accident that score was stuck on 10-6 for so long.
They had a nice little parlay today with the Saints and the Giants.
Nice.
And I was also the one that a few weeks before the regular season of baseball ended, there was a day where 15 games had played in baseball, and all 15 games had a new date numerology riddle. And I did a straight bet on all 15 of them, ended up 10 for 5, 10 out of 5. 10 of them came through.
There you go.
So,
yeah, that's a winning day. So
just the area code riddles, or not the date numerology.
Yeah, not bad.
It was so unusual. I actually did a $1 parlay on all 15 of them, which would have paid out pretty good.
Sure.
I've never seen all the games come up with a riddle for a date numerology. Usually it's like 1 or 2 or 3, and usually they come up all the time. But
Yeah.
I had to put the parlay in it.
Yeah. 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 Well played, man. Evan, you've been waiting for a minute. What's up, Evan?
Hey there, good evening. I do just want to share some stuff from the organic side. So, where should I start here? So, if my dad's full name in reverse equals 349, and he was born 349 days after his mom's, so my grandmother's birthday. And my full name in reverse equals 257, and I was born 257 days after my mom's birthday.
Huh.
And then, can I share my screen for a bit?
Yeah.
All right, let's see, share screen. Hold on, I need to get the right window up.
The Bengals threatening on the Ravens, 1st and goal, 3:20 in the 4th left, Roman Catholic Church. All right, here's Evan's screen.
All right. So this date on the left, November 12th, 96, that's when my best friend growing up was born. And this date on the right is when I was born. So you can see that all the date numerologies are just off by 1 because he was born in the year before I was. But as you can see, he was born on 138 numerology. I was born on the 138th day of the year. And because he was born in a leap year, he was born on the 317th, November 12th was the 317th day of the year, which is the 66th prime. And he was born 6 months and 6 days before me.
Huh.
And I was born on the day leaving 227 days left in the year, which is the 49th prime. And he was born on the day leaving 49 days left in the year.
Huh.
So when I see stuff like this, I don't know if it's like organic or if it's a coincidence, but I think like back in like maybe thousands of years ago, people saw this stuff and they decided, oh, if we're going to create a code, let's do it based around this kind of stuff. At least that's what I think.
Sure. Just again, that's how it seems to me, that they observe something about numbers, patterns, and somebody along the way even probably because I bet they just first didn't see it in words, but they just saw recurring patterns in numbers and dates, and then probably the next thing was recognizing, like, wait a minute, if you number the alphabet, look at this. That's kind of my theory on how it all came to be. So,
and also what's interesting is that if you just remove the year, we're both born on 23 numerology, and we're both from San Jose. San Jose equals 83, which is the 23rd prime. So that's just a little bit more.
Yeah, a lot of undeniable patterns there too.
There was something else, but I forgot what it is right now. So I'll just stop sharing my screen. And I think also just some my thoughts on why sports are not part of the organic side. I think even before I knew sports were scripted and thought that, and like knew about gematria and all that, I would like be watching it was mostly in football and basketball, where in football I'd be like watching it and then there'd just be like a play call that would make no sense, and I would kind of sarcastically say to myself, like, oh, are they like trying to lose this game? Or like, or in basketball there'd be like a close game late in the game, and then someone would just put up a shot that would like make no sense, and obviously they'd miss it. And like I'd say the I was just thinking, oh, like they're human, they make mistakes. And actually, funny enough, the first time I ever considered a sports game to be scripted was a soccer game between YouTubers.
Huh.
And this was before I knew about gematria, but it just seemed like everything was just like too funny and all that. Looking back at it now, it probably was scripted because all those YouTubers are kind of famous. But also, that's right, I remembered now what I was going to say regarding the organic side. So as I mentioned earlier, I was born on the 138th day of the year. And obviously, your name equals 138. And I found gematria in the time where Donald Trump was president, his name also equals 138. So just something that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was thinking about that too with your 138s because I do have that connection in my own name, and I was thinking, well, maybe that's part of the reason he was attracted to the work. And shout out to Evan, he came out and pounded pavement with us in Oklahoma City earlier this year. As the football game's going on right now, the Bengals just had a 75-yard touchdown drive, and Cincinnati Bengals is 75 and the most pure to tie the game at 16 apiece. On the 16-date numerology, if they make the extra point, they'll be up 17-16, and there'll be a minute 53 left in the game. Kind of like 153, the 17th triangular number, as the Bengals from the 17th state look like they're about to take a lead, 17-16.
With 33 points in total.
Yeah, 33 points in total. That's also true. So we'll see what happens next. Bengals.
They just added 6 seconds back on the clock.
Oh, so they're taking to a minute 59?
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. We'll see what happens. On my end, they still haven't kicked the extra point, but all right. Pineal Power was next up. Evan, Evan muted himself, so he must have been finished. Pineal Power, did you want to come on and share with the Roddy Piper avatar?
Yeah. So I really quick. I think this was last week or the week prior. I had a live 201 find on the date that's written 10/2. The mirror of 201.
Right.
And you might recognize me, but check it out. I'm back.
Oh, nice.
Can you see that?
Person. Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Oh, is that a bowling
And I just
alley?
bowled
Nice.
huh?
You just bowled a 201.
No, I bowled a 191 actually, like Society of Jesus, but my first time breaking a 200, I hit a 201. And but yeah, I got the second strike on my channel after making an apology video to you, and it's ironic how it worked because it's just they don't want to see unity and community in this side.
Okay, I know they can just give you a strike for anything, but you made an apology video to me and they gave you a strike for that specific video? Shoot, he cut out. The bowling alley cut off his signal, but that's a new one. An apology video gets a medical. I'm sure he got medical misinformation. Everything's medical misinformation these days. So
yeah, that's great.
Did anyone hear the announcers on tonight's game? They sacked Lamar Jackson. It was actually after the ball was thrown when Lamar Jackson was taken down, and they commented on how a play earlier in the day with Tom Brady like that was called roughing the passer.
Somebody said it was number 97 too on the Falcons who got the penalty on him. And again, it was the 97th NFL season where Brady beat the Falcons in the 25-point comeback. Again, 97, the 25th prime. So they couldn't have scripted it any better.
And the same play against the black QB, no call.
Yeah, that's all part of the show, man. And that's totally non-organic. It's just in your face, blatant mockery, racism, and a whole bunch of other evil.
So Zach, as everyone else is here talking about organic side, I was like, I better look and see what I've got in my family that's organic, because I didn't really have anything. But so my dad's full name equals 201 and 57. And for some reason lately, I've been drawn to this 57. It's like been the only number I've been doing. His full name equals 57. My mom's full name equals 57. My brother's full name equals 57.
Huh.
And like I said, all I've been drawn to like lately, I've been like, I got to figure out what's up with this 57, you know? And again, my dad's name equals 201 and 57. And my dad's born on 5/7, July 5th.
Huh.
And also in Chaldean, which I already knew this back then, but I was born on June 19th. And if you type that date out, June 19th, it equals 61. If you type my dad's full name out, it equals 61. And if you type my mom's full name out, it equals 61. So my mom's name and my dad's full name match, and my birth date, the day I was born. And the name Cody equals 61 also. So
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of the same numbers showing up in the family, and it's is that all in the same cipher?
yeah, in the 57s was all in the same cipher with my brother, my mom, and my dad.
Huh.
And they're not even, my brother's not even the brother I'm talking about. He's actually from my stepfather, because I have 2 step parents. I don't have, because my dad and my mom were never together. But so the brother that was on my stepdad and my mom, his name equals 57.
Interesting.
My name equals 56 in Chaldean. And like I said, I had all the 61s with my parents and my birth date all matched. But yeah, and my great grandmother, I had something with her too. She was born on 9/11. She was born on 9/11 to 1921, and that was my great grandmother. And I found some connections with me and her, but I can't quite remember them. But I do know that the whole 9/11 thing was a big thing in my life. Like I have connections to it.
Sure. Huh. Yeah, it's interesting. So
Did anyone do a decode on the ambulance coming out onto the field? I think a Detroit line player was carted off.
I didn't see that today.
Oh, no, I saw that. That was a clear ritual. The dude just fainted in the middle of the field.
Huh. Yeah, I missed it.
They're blaming it on a hit, but I kind of doubt that. I definitely doubt that.
Actually, I didn't see anyone touch the guy. He just kind of fell.
Huh. Okay. In the football game, we got 74 seconds left, and the clock is stopped. Ravens are at their own 40. They got Justin Tucker, who can make a field goal from about 1,000,000 miles away. He's probably the best kicker in the league. And the Ravens, a 3-point favorite. If they won this game, it would likely be on a field goal, so they wouldn't quite cover the spread, but we'll see what's going to happen. It's winding down. Another nail biter to keep you drawn in till the very last commercial. So
Something else about Justin Tucker, he's an opera singer.
Justin Tucker, the kicker's an opera singer?
Yes.
Man. Whenever I think of that guy, I get the same nightmare. It was before I knew Gematria. It was like the year before I learned Gematria. It was the last time I played in a fantasy football league. I dominated that whole season, and I was about to win. We play winner takes all pot, and Justin Tucker beat me on a 60-something yard field goal. That field goal gave like 1 extra point to beat my score in the championship game. I couldn't believe it, because I was like, it'd been a long time since over a 60-yard field goal had gone on in the NFL. Now they seem to happen pretty often in the NFL, but it's about more than 10 years ago now that Justin Tucker beat me on a 60-some yarder. I couldn't believe it. I thought, what in the world, man?
There was the easiest magnet of all time in the 41 ritual game today with the Cardinals and Eagles. The Cardinals got stopped on a 4th and 1, of course, and that whole game was encoded with the 41 and the Eagles Super Bowl. But they missed an easy 43-yard field goal. I just swerved right. So the magnet.
Hey, Lamar Jackson has a video out there narrating a missed field goal by Tucker years ago where it just takes a horrible bend. He's like, how's it even doing that? Because look, there's no wind on the flags. I've shown that highlight before. It's out there. But that's one of those ones that should remind you about the technology factor. So they're definitely in Justin Tucker field goal range now. So we'll see what happens.
56 seconds left, I see.
Yeah, you gotta love that. Stopping on 56 seconds. They've gone 39 yards on the drive. The Raven 39. Minute 02 drive. Yeah, we'll see. What do you guys do for this football game tonight?
Wait and see, and to go for tomorrow night.
Yeah. Again, there's a good chance that home teams are 10-6 on primetime by the conclusion of the week. Right now, home teams are 9-5 after what happened on Thursday Night Football, and Thursday Night Football does equal 95. So we'll see. If the Ravens do not win this game, home teams will become 9-6, and both Cincinnati and Baltimore Ravens equal 96. But if the Ravens win, home teams become 10-5, and Cincinnati Bengals does have the 105 as well. But it does set up the narrative for tomorrow. If that does happen, 10-6, Columbus 106. So we'll see. The drive is now 1:06 long. They just adjusted the time. 1:06 long, stopped at 56 seconds. How about that? I got a question for you guys. So it probably changed about 6 months ago, but if I did a screen capture, so if I use the streaming service for the cable company here, which is Spectrum, I can stream it on my computer. I can stream it on my phone. I used to always be able to take screenshots of it, which I would do to document and show. But now if I do a screenshot of the live game using the Apple screenshot built-in computer thing, or even on my phone, now the game doesn't show up. What just shows up is an all-black image with everything blocked out.
I've seen that happen before.
It does it every time now.
It's for copyright, I'm pretty sure, because in Netflix, you can't screen record or anything like that, so it just blacks it out.
Netflix on the iPhone, you can't screenshot or screen record.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same for all the Spectrum stuff, and it wasn't like that until about 6 months ago. But it annoys me because, like, I used to always take screenshots of what was going on, especially in games with all the number stuff. And now what I can do is pull up my phone and take a picture of this screen, and that still works. But I imagine it's probably not long until they figure out how to black that out too. So,
I mean, I remember back when I was in college, sometimes I'd be like watching a sports game in the back of the classroom, and sometimes I'd want to screenshot stuff, and I was using my parents' TV subscription, and I'd like press the screenshot thing on the tablet, and it said it wouldn't work. But I think like if you use the snipping tool on a computer, it'll probably work.
Okay.
There was a Michigan running backs coach in the Michigan game that had seizures on the sideline and had to be taken to the hospital early in the game on Saturday. I didn't know if anyone knew that.
I didn't know that. No. Huh. Okay, we had a few more people hop on the show. Gematria Gaming and then DK. I guess Gematria Gaming got in here a hair earlier. Gematria Gaming.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing tonight, guys?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Hey, Zach. I didn't want to like derail from what you guys are talking about tonight, so you can tell me no if you want. But I called in and talked to you on Tuesday on TFR. And you had asked me a question about showing relevance in the Bible, like in today's kind of age or whatever. So I didn't know if I just wanted to call in and talk to you about that because I couldn't do it on TFR. But again, I don't want to derail if you guys are talking about something in specific tonight.
Okay, cool. Then we'll talk to you later. Then see you later.
All right. Yeah, well, just because it's off topic, we can save it for the next show. So, well, if he's gonna save that, DK, what's on your mind? Oh, so the Ravens win with 19. This is the number Rod called in about 36 because full moon equals 36. It's the day of the full moon. The moon has the 19-year cycle. Jackson equals 19. I'm sure you remember I was talking about the name Jackson with the Roe versus Wade overturning during the time of cancer. And then Ketanji Brown Jackson in a week later. So that
Jupiter
becomes the
36.
first black quarterback to beat a white quarterback in Columbus week is Lamar Jackson. So now it's 1-5 for black quarterbacks versus white quarterbacks. Home teams are now 10-5 in prime time. The Bengals did not, or not, the Ravens did not cover the spread though. They were a 3-point favorite. Anyhow, DK, what's up?
What were you just saying about the flag waving?
Flag waving.
You said there was no wind on the flag.
Oh, there's a Lamar Jackson highlight of looking at a missed field goal from a few seasons ago, and he's just like, I don't understand how that ball moved so hard to the right at the end when there was no wind on the flags on the poles.
Oh yeah, the one we talked about with the magnetic, with the magnets inside the uprights.
Right. So.
Yeah, they should have just used the flag from the moon landing. That thing was waving like crazy. That would have worked good for that one.
Indeed. Indeed.
You know how you were saying, is it bad to gamble, you know, even though like you're just taking, you know, advantage of a rigged system? I think the only way like something is bad is if you're helping them in some way. But if you're like taking, you know, revenue out of their thing, then I think actually probably it'd be more positive, if anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think beating them at their own game is what we got to do.
Yeah, it's either neutral or positive, because you're not, in one way you're exposing that it's a hoax, and then in another way you're pulling, you know, a little bit of a revenue stream out of what normally they would be getting. Because I mean, honestly, do people really think, like, for instance, like the sports makes all this money and porn makes all this money? Like, that shit is all subsidized. You think all those guys on the field making millions, you know, the whole crew behind the team, all the executives, all that has to be paid for somehow by the fans? It's totally impossible. That shit is all subsidized because they own the printing presses, just like the porn industry. Does it make billions and billions of dollars a year? No, it doesn't. Does Hugh Hefner make billions selling a fucking magazine? Hell no. This shit is all subsidized, and they just tell us that. I mean, are a lot of people watching porn? Yes. 99% of it is free online. Why on earth would people be paying all, you know, to the tunes of billions of dollars for it? Are people paying for like escorts and hookers and stuff like that? Yeah, but that doesn't go to them. You know what I mean? That goes to the girls. So all the evil industries are totally subsidized, and they just want us participating in them for one, to corrupt ourselves and you know, feed into this energetic prison that we're in. But you know, like, they want to make some money on the side to try to subsidize it as much as they can. So they do that with the gambling. That's why, you know, Vegas makes a call, and you know, then all of a sudden the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator or both, they just can't seem to get their act together. All just horrible calls and, you know, play call. Like, why would you call that at that time? You know, you literally could have taken a knee better than doing that, you know? So that stuff is all, it's all printing presses are subsidizing that, and whatever else they can recoup back on some of the scams, like the gambling stuff. That's how I think all that stuff works. So, you
Indeed. They need these industries to pacify people. And by the way, I'm always joking about how Cheetos keep people pacified. You guys might have saw that Canada unveiled a new statue paying tribute to Cheetos fingers. You guys see that?
Cheetos what? Fingers?
Cheetos fingers. You know how you get that orange stuff on your fingers?
You lick your fingers?
Canada has a statue now of fingers with orange all over them holding up a Cheeto.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
A Cheeto. An orange piece of shit.
Yeah. Speaking of porn, we got porn star JR.
Oh, great transition. Like you did that.
Indeed.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up?
Oh yeah. Basically, I had like to tell you about the organic stuff because basically my cousins, I had like probably like in 2014, this around the time where like I really was like like 2009 is like really the year I really started becoming aware of stuff. But and then like 2014, I was just like fed up with this shit. Like I gotta start looking up shit. So my cousins, it was like one of them was he was like probably like 14, and then the other one he was like 19, and they died like 19 days apart from each other. And the one that was younger, he was supposed to get paid like a lot of money because he got bit by a dog. And so he the other one, he was 19, they died 19 days apart. And then his funeral, the older one, his funeral was on the 19th of February. It was just weird. And I was like, I thought that was like weird because 999 and probably like 666. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that is strange too. But was that recently?
No, it wasn't recently. That happened in 2014.
2014. Okay,
Yes.
2014. So, well, sorry for the loss, but yeah, again, most of the number things that people notice, it's matters of life and death, and yeah, the numbers do seem to show up when people pass. What's your take on how it's happening?
Oh yeah, I basically think that they are like doing like those type of things, like y'all saying, like probably doing rituals on innocent people or stuff.
Yeah, it is entirely possible. Makes you wonder. So,
I had to come in here though. I didn't want y'all to think I was a troll or nothing because of my name.
oh no, it's okay. It's okay.
I actually thought you were a girl. But...
For real? Oh yeah, because the girl in my picture.
Yeah,
No, I'm the
yeah,
one
yeah,
with the fuck the police shirt.
All right.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. Anyone else on the group got any more thoughts about this organic side and the way these numbers manifest?
Yeah, actually, I got another story.
I was gonna say something. Go ahead. You could go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
I was gonna say, September 11th was 52 days after your birthday, right? So that event was actually, 52 days, and Gematria is 52. So I was just interesting how you was teaching Gematria 52 days after your birthday.
Kabbalah's 52, Gematria 52. Oh,
it's crazy how that worked out that way.
Isn't terrorist 52?
Oh shit.
I don't think I ever noticed that it was that many days after my birthday. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This organic side is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, Rich, well, my bad.
Okay, yeah. Another death story, but my grandmother, she actually passed away from cancer on February 1st, 2021. I find that weird because again, 2-1 and 21. But she died on a day with 44 numerology. And of course, we know cancer, chemo, and cure, they're all 44. And she had stage 4 cancer. She had pancreatic cancer. So, yeah, I find that very interesting too. And she's born on 18/8. And in the year 44. So,
Yeah. That's my sister when she got cancer. I mean, she survived it. She went the surgery radiation route, but she was 44 years old when she got cancer.
that makes me think because like my grandmother, like she didn't eat she ate like pretty much healthy her whole life, like just salads, just drink nothing but water, and then she ended up getting like pancreatic cancer and passing away. So,
Well, some people's water got stuff in it, man. I mean, I think a lot of us
Yeah.
are getting sick from what's in the water.
yeah.
So,
But I still believe it. I think the doctor might have had some shit behind that too, because they weren't really even trying to help her. Like they were just like, she's gonna die anyway. It's like,
yeah, it's sad that a lot of medical professionals have that opinion because they see so much death. It's like my sister's husband, he's a neonatologist, so he worked with babies and a lot of premature babies, and he just
Right.
talked about, like passings that happened that day like it was nothing. I was like, man, you think that would just mess with your mindset, just witnessing little babies die? But I don't know, some of these doctors are just unfazed by all of it. So
they're money
Zach,
motivated. They're money motivated.
you're right about the water thing, because I'm in Ohio right now, and we have a lot of farmers have a lot of pesticides running off into the fields,
right.
and me and my stepdad have like similar symptoms sometimes when we have filtered water, but ultimately you got to have minerals in the water, and so when you take the minerals out, and then you also still get chemicals in there, and so I went to Arkansas last month. And I went there specifically for the water, because Arkansas is one of the cleanest places to get water in the United States still. The lakes there are pristine.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Hot Springs, where Bill Clinton's from. if you go there, you can take, there's faucets in the middle of the streets. You can pump fresh spring water right out of the ground. And I'm telling you, when you drink it, you feel different. Like you feel this is good water. Not only that, but you can soak in the hot spring baths every morning. They're too hot when they come out of the ground. They're 160 or 140. They're real hot. But what these bathhouses, the gangsters used to go there. Hot Springs is known for the gangsters because the gangsters used to go there and take these hot spring baths.
Okay.
And I took the hot spring bath every day I was there. I drank the water every day. And man, in about 2 or 3 days, I had no more aches and pains that I normally had. I was feeling like a lot of energy. The water is truly the most important thing in health that people do not look at. And if you're drinking water from municipal, you're not getting good water. If you're drinking well water, you're not getting good water.
It could be depending on where your well is, but it could also be bad water.
Around here, the well water is bad because a lot of the Amish, because I drive Amish for a living, so I'm real familiar with all the stuff they do.
You drive Amish for a living? They get rides?
I work on a construction crew. I drive them because they can't actually drive the vehicle, but
they're willing to ride in it, huh? Interesting.
Well, they've had to adapt their lifestyle over the years, and in order to, continue to be a part of the society, really.
I see.
But yeah, they have well water, and the problem with that is they have way too much iron and stuff and calcium in their water, and that some of them lose their teeth and they get sick a lot. And I just know it's the water, because anytime I ever drink their water, it's weird. I feel weird after it. Like it's, and like I said, it's a lot of it has to do with the farming and all that stuff. But
I'd recommend everybody get one of those water testing kits that you can get at the store. They usually go for about $10 to $20, and they read in parts per million the contamination level in your water. You want it to be a smaller number. They'll say between 0 and 1,000 particles per million on those tests is considered safe. I actually haven't done it the whole time I lived here in Yakima. I should. It's because I actually don't have my water testing kit anymore, but I used to have it when I lived on the other side of the state. In the Seattle area, parts per million would always be around like 30, which is pretty good for city water. But there's other areas in the nation where it's closer to like 1,000 parts per million. And there's places like Flint where at the time when they were having their water crisis, and I've heard things haven't gotten that much better, but their testing would have been through the roof. So
the silica in the water in hot springs is very healing for the body. And so there's certain minerals. You obviously don't want to have an imbalance of minerals, but the silica is really good. And that's what helped all my aches and pains go away. I mean, like after 2 days. So anyone who has a chance to go to one of these springs, or if you can find a spring near you and soak, like it will really help.
Okay. Token Tim's always trying to get me to go to the hot springs that are around here. Maybe we should do it. So, all right.
We have the same thing in Croatia. Like on my island, we have like basically like a pipe that just sticking out of the side of the cliff, and it just runs water. It's cold water. And there's like 10 pipes, and people used to go there and just fill up their water. It's been running since my dad was born. My dad's 70. So, it runs 24/7. And then everybody used to go get their water there, but then they made like, running water for everybody. And there's also a bunch of wells all over the island, but then they made like running water for everybody, which comes from like this centralized, like it looks like a big swimming pool it's like in a building. But that's when everybody started getting poisoned. This was like right after like World War II. They put in this centralized water, but so people got lazy. They didn't want to go get their water anymore and like carry it, because you had to walk down these like makeshift stairs down the cliff and go get it and then bring it back to your house. So, but then they started like poisoning the water, and the guy's right. There's all kinds of minerals in the water, and it gets like, it gets filtered by being on all the magnetic rocks and coming from way inside wherever it's coming from. So it has all the right balances of the minerals and stuff. And then when you start messing with it, or even like filtering it, you take out a lot of the minerals and like trace minerals that you really need. And then there's another thing about, water's not supposed to be still. It's supposed to be like in motion. So if you're like drinking dead, like water, like that's just like pooled, you can like centrifuge it and do stuff to it at your house. Like I have I just have a bunch of little like quartz crystals, and I just put it in my water. Like if, I have these like 1.5 liter glasses, and I just have it in the bottom. A lot of people I know, they put it in the glass blender, and they got like magnets on the outside, and they centrifuge it, and the water, like if the water's alive, we're 75% water. So it literally will bring you to life, with it's supposed to have like torsion fields and all this stuff alive in it. But, all our water, especially municipal water, which I don't recommend anybody drink. I don't care how many parts per million it says. It's just sitting stagnant in these huge like reservoirs, this just dead water, So yeah, water. People should look into fourth phase water, and basically the best water you can get is out of like fruits and vegetables. It's been like filtered by nature. That's like true fourth phase water. There, it's been filtered by nature, by the, if you want to call it the genetic code from the creator given to the plant to, take photons and just turn them into what we call solid, and use water and minerals from the ground to do that, and then trap the water inside. So it's always the perfect pH and the perfect filtration and the perfect amount of minerals. So that's where I think like juicing is more important, is for your actual water. I mean, I know people who don't drink water at all. You try to give them the best water there is, like Starkey, or or that one, that Mountain Valley Spring, that's the official water of the White House, and they'll be like, ugh, like I'd rather drink my own urine, which is a whole nother thing, urine therapy. But you know what I'm saying? They're like, there's no way I would drink that. They what you consider the best water you can buy at the store, $3 in a bottle, they would never touch. They're like, that's not that water, that's dead water, unless
Sure.
you want to do a bunch of stuff to it. But I'd rather just juice this this jicama or something, and whatever, and drink like a half a glass of this. It'll hydrate me more than 10 bottles of that could. How much of my body's going to retain. Not to mention, much water washes your minerals out. You don't necessarily, just like people that drink tea every day, they don't realize that tea is a binder, and it takes all your minerals out too. I mean, it's good acutely, but I wouldn't drink it every day.
Interesting. Okay, I never heard that one before. A sweet lady listens to a yogi who tells people not to drink water and just get their water from fruits and vegetables too.
Yeah, like I said, the woman that lives on our farm, she, like, her breakfast is 30 oranges. I don't know how, I can't even fit that in my stomach because the amount of fluid that's in it. But I mean, how much, if you were to press all those, how much would that be?
Sure.
What, 4 or 5 glasses of orange juice? I mean, that's a lot of fluid, plus all the pulp and everything.
You got to have money, or she has orange trees in her backyard, because that's expensive to eat that much fruit per day.
Like, everything's growing right there. Got like, I don't know how many. It's like an exotic tree, Mediterranean, and trees from all over the world, as a matter of fact. But like, the ones that can grow in that climate. So there's all kinds of stuff all over for free. Coconut, orange, banana, certain things you can get like abundantly for free, like growing on the roadside, and especially like coconuts. There's bums that live on the beach. They just live off the coconuts and the trees. They live in hammocks, and that's when they had the like lockdowns. They like closed down the beaches there. They're like, what do you mean? I live here. We close. Where am I going to go? In the water? Like, so they were like telling them they couldn't be on the beach. They were like laughing, like, get the fuck out of here. So they started trying to cut down their hammocks.
Interesting.
Can I ask you a question? Tell me more about the group home thing you were in, because one of my friends, he's like, he's 30, so 32 to be exact. So like, we got to go back like 20 years, but he said, his mom left him. They were like at a Walmart shopping or something, and she wanted to help him to help her shoplift. He's at 4 years old, and he said no, and then he got caught. That was the last time basically he saw his mom. So he's been in foster care ever since and all that. And he said that, like, he was in a bunch of different foster cares, and that you were saying a lot of them go into the Pacific Northwest. He told me that, specifically he was with a couple different people for like 4 year one stint and like 5 years another. And he said they get $6,000 per kid for doing foster care. So he said she had like a big house with horses and all this stuff, and she had 7 boys on one side and 7 girls on the other side. So imagine, like, and this is like 20 years ago, so like, you have 14 kids, you're collecting $6,000 from each one. I mean, that'll pay for an enormous mansion with horse stables and everything, no problem.
Sure.
So I don't, there's some weird people up in that area. That's like CIA Central up there, Seattle area, and plus there's a spot in Oregon where they're at too. I know kind of some people that used to, they're like in their about 60 right now, and they used to live up in that area. And like before Bill Gates and all these guys were ever famous, they were like selling real estate to those people and selling them like clothes, and like all their wives, would come to these custom like dress shops and stuff, and they were involved. She's like, I know all those people. That's all like CIA and like Mossad run the whole area up there, and they got a lot of different like safe houses there and different like operations that they're running from out of around that area. So I wanted to ask, what exactly did you see was going on when you were in the group home? I'm assuming you were just in the government funded one where it's like almost like a remedial school or something, right?
So again, I'll tell the story of the thing that really creeped me out about working out at this place. There's a few things that were weird, but there was one thing that creeped me out the most. So this place, Ryther, again, it's a group home. For people who are not familiar with group homes, they're pretty much where children live who cannot exist in foster care. And the reason they can't exist in foster care is because they're violent. They're already sexual predators at a young age. They're the type of kids that'll set a fire in the foster parent's house. They'll hurt the other kids. They'll kill the pets in the house. That is, some kids end up in the group home that don't belong there, and it has to do with just placements and caseworkers. But for the most part, most of the children in the group home have severe behavioral disorders. So imagine bringing together 12 children to live in one relatively small building that all have serious behavioral issues, and how that unfolds day after day. It's very chaotic, and it's sad. I mean, it's sad that children have to exist in this kind of environment. And again, these children, most of them were abused from a young age, so they've learned some negative behaviors. And again, the thing that creeped me out is there was a man who worked there who'd been there since he was a young person, and now he was like around 60 years old. And this is in the early mid 2000s when I was there. And he would, a lot of people got fired at this place because if you slipped up in any way, they would just fire you. So they bring through a lot of new employees. But this man who'd worked there for about 40 years, he had all these special privileges. And again, it's super strict. You're not supposed to be taking these children home to where you live. But for whatever reason, this one guy was allowed to take home the children and let them have sleepovers at his own house. And just the guy was weird. And one time I saw him get super physically abusive with a child actually in the building. And anybody else would have been fired for a tiny. What he did was just way over the top. He grabbed a child by the arm and flung him around across the carpet. I mean, anybody else would have been fired for doing something even a tenth as bad as that. But this guy got away with everything, and he got to take the children home. And between him and some of the faculty members there, I just got this bad vibe about what really might have been going on with some of these children. And again, these children are already used to getting abused, and like being sexually abused by adults for them is a normal thing. And some of the children who are in group homes, you see their case file, and their parents been pimping them out. And then, somebody finds out, and then CPS comes in and removes the child from the home, and then they end up in a group home. And then it's so sad that you have to wonder, it's like, God, was it worse for them to be with their parents getting pimped out as children, or is it worse living in this group home? Because living in the group home is terrible on all levels, from the food that they get to just what the environment is day after day. But that's why, I mean, when I see homeless people on the street, I know that a lot of them are the same type of children that grew up in these group homes. They're on a bad path from, the time they're born. But it's just some of the people up at the top, the way they would talk about the kids, I thought was weird. Because it's like, well, why do you even work here then if you look at them that way? Like, weird. And there's that Gordy guy that had been there for 40 years, taking the kids home on the weekend, getting just the thing I just told you. Imagine grabbing like a 6-year-old little girl and whipping her across the carpet and like just throwing her like across the carpet because you're mad at her. It's like, oh my God, you can't do anything like that at the group home. You do have to restrain children there. You're taught to restrain. And sadly, for people who wonder what that's like, it's because the children get violent and they'll attack other kids and they'll start breaking property. So they teach you restraints to kind of keep them from, just breaking themselves and other people. But you're not supposed to be abusing the children. But again, so
That's that the one step in between juvenile hall, like the group home.
And no, it's not like juvenile hall because they're not
under arrest.
A lot of them are younger than that. I don't know what the youngest age is for juvie, but a lot of kids in the group home are like 5, 6, 7, and they'll do it by age groups. They'll have like 5-year-old through 12-year-olds in this house, and then they'll have 13 through up to 18. When you turn 18, then you got to go on to the next facility, and then you'll be in there with like through people that are in their early 20s. So, Arthur, were you going to say something?
I was just saying, I think the difference is that they're not like under arrest.
Yeah, they're not under arrest. Yeah. It just, they can't exist in foster care, and they are all of these children that their parents, that their custodian is the state. So their parents have lost custody of their children. And a lot of if the children even have parents left, a lot of them are in prison. And another common thing is that the parent who grew up in the group home now has a child of their own in the same group home. So
wait a minute. So can they leave the facility or?
Yeah.
It depends on what program you're in. The children who are age 5, 12 don't leave the facility without some kind of supervision. Ryther has its own school campus on location. If there's there was a girl, her name was Chanel, but it was spelled the wrong way. It was spelled with just one L, so her name was like Channel. But she was like a girl who did not belong in the group home, but somehow she ended up there, and she was just like a normal. I felt so bad for that girl. It's like, why is she here? But because she was more normal functioning, she actually got to leave the campus on her own and catch the bus and go to school. But in all the years I worked there, she was the only student that was able to go off campus by herself.
Yeah, that's wild. Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, it did stand out to me the other day when I drove past there that it was on 95th Street. I said, that fits in with that Knights of Columbus coming there every month. So
it's kind of common that they have like a CIA asset or somebody like that'll be like in charge. And it sounds like that it was that one guy that like could do anything, couldn't get in trouble, and was allowed to take the kids home and whatever,
Yeah, and the guy, I don't know if the same guy is still in charge of it. His name was Lee Grog when I was there, but when I was working there, when I first started working, again, people thought I was nuts because I had a 6-figure salary, and I went to working for minimum wage, which was $10 an hour at the time, working at Ryther, and everyone thought I'd lost my mind giving up my good job to work at this place. And I liked working there, Cole, because I liked the challenge of working with the children, and I liked, seeing them just get to feel comfortable and have a nice day. I mean, for somebody like me, I care a lot, and I like working with kids. So it's sad seeing these children that have this really traumatic life with just all this negative energy around them. It's nice making them feel good about themselves, or I can think of this little boy that used to be there. He had a rat tail, little Mexican kid. His name was Jesus. And, he loved to throw the football around. And it's funny to think the guy, he's probably in his early 20s now. But, it was nice. But I remember going to the guy who was in charge of the place at the time, Lee Grog. And I said, you know what I realized from working here is I said, you need your senior staff. You need them on hand more often than not, because the nights that they're here are the thing you'd realize is, like, if you had 3 veteran staff working in a night who were consistent staff and good at their job, there'd be a lot less chaos in the house with the children, because the children felt safer with those people there. So you needed, and there weren't a lot of veteran staff. Almost everybody came through there and left within 6 months or less. But there was a few employees. There's the guy who, of course, had been there for 40 years. And then you had a few other women who'd been there for like 5 years or so. They were kind of like the veteran staff, but the nights that they were on were always the calmest nights. So I went to the Lee Grog and I said, as much as we spend on like, the point I was making to him is if you just spent a little bit more on your employees and you kept your veteran staff around, you'd probably have a lot less in repair bills, because I can't tell you how much stuff gets broken in group homes, how many windows and everything. I mean, these kids are acting out a lot. Violence and breaking stuff is just something that happens all the time. But I realized if you just had veteran staff on, there'd be a lot less of this. And so I went to him with this idea and I said, if we could figure out a way to raise some more funds to pay people a little bit more to keep people around, I said, I think it'd make a world of difference. And he said to me, he goes, Zach, I think this isn't the right place for you. Just these kind of things these ideas you have will never happen here. And it just seemed so weird to me how opposed he was to everything I was saying. I was like, why would you not want these things? And in a way, just looking back, I'm like, God, did they want the chaos that was there? I mean, is that just, I don't know, but I always think that every person in this world, if you live in a place that has group homes, I think it should be required for everyone to go visit the group home to just see what's going on in our own communities, and that we have children like this that are growing up with these backgrounds and these environments. And again, it's just it's mind blowing. And this place, Ryther, it'll never go out of business because the backlog for children to get in there's not enough beds. There's like 1,000, and it's probably a lot worse now than it was when I was working there in the early 2000s, because Seattle's become just like so many other cities. Just there's so many more problems in America now. I'm guessing the backlog to get in there is probably 10,000 children deep, and it's unfortunate. So
they keep all that stuff out of sight, out of mind, just like the slaughterhouses, because if people saw what was going on, things would be probably a lot different.
Indeed, they do keep it out of sight, out of mind. I was blown away. I knew there was problems in this country, but God, I couldn't believe how many children had backgrounds like this. And I mean, you could have never told me that there was a 6-year-old sexual predator child before. I would have never thought that existed, but there's actually a lot of them, and they're children that have been sexually abused. Yeah. And now they want to sexually abuse other children. So like the things you have to watch out for at the group home is like the sneaky kid will go wait in the other bathroom and like put his feet up on the toilet and hide in the stall so no one sees him, and they're waiting for the next kid to come in there to try and do whatever. And it's just amazing that children are so young and already doing these things.
Was there like gay stuff going on too, or was mostly like heterosexual?
It's both, because I mean, again, whatever abuse and trauma they've experienced, some of them want to do it now to other people.
Yeah, I would think like these boys that are getting, usually the boys that are getting molested, they're not getting molested by women. You know what I mean? So yeah. It's men who are molesting, mostly, I would say, that are molesting both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sadly that is true. And what you find is, a lot of these children, they have things that you've maybe never heard of before. They have things like encopresis, and that's embarrassing for them because they're always peeing in their pants and crapping their pants, and it's not because they're not potty trained. It's just because if you experience so much abuse and trauma, it's like your intestines don't work anymore. And then, so your body blocks up everything. And then all of a sudden they'll have a release and everything will just come out. And, one time, it wasn't even at the group home. It was years later working in a private school. This father from a well-to-do family, he would scold his child every day when he picked him up, because he'd get mad that his child wet his pants every day or pooped his pants at school. And he was 7 years old and he thought his son was too old to be doing that. But I noticed the way the father was with the child, how he'd kind of jerk him out of school and scream at him in front of when he picked him up. And I said to him, excuse me, sir. I said, you might want to go to your doctor and just ask if Sam has encopresis. And he goes, what's that? And I said, it develops from trauma. And I was just seeing the way the dad treats the child's like, well, maybe that's what his problem is. Maybe the dad's creating trauma. But then the dad came back a few days later. He said, thank you very much. The doctor said he did have encopresis. He's like, how did you know that? I didn't want to tell him how I knew that, because then it was going to reflect on him. I said, well, I just learned about it in the past. But then when he found out he had encopresis, and again, what they'll do for children who have encopresis is they'll get them on a schedule where they sit down on the toilet at times through the day and just try to flush out their system so it doesn't accidentally happen in their pants. But yeah, it's just, again, I mean, there are a lot of children in the world who are suffering from some kind of abuse, and parents don't even recognize what they're doing to their children. And the other thing I was going to say is that all these kids at the group home, almost every single one of them pees the bed every single night, whether they're 5 years old or 12 years old. So you just start to realize like patterns that abused children have. And again, it shows that all that trauma, even though they're not experiencing the trauma as much anymore in the group home, it's still living with them. And some of those kids are in the group home for 2 years before they move on to the next place, and they can't get over the bedwetting every night problem. It's just all from all the trauma they experienced before they got there. Anyway,
Thanks for sharing all that.
sure. Yeah, not the happiest of topics, but definitely a real one. So
Yeah, well, all those end up as adults too. I mean, I don't know how many of them end up in the real world, like being able to function financially and stuff. But just imagine, how many it takes, like a small army to deal with them. Just as 5-year-olds, let alone imagine when they're adults.
that's what I mean. There's a lot of people growing up with these kind of backgrounds who do become adults, and then as adults, I don't think a lot of them do function in our system. I think they end up either homeless or they end up in prison. So
yeah, it's just feed the system. Again, they're making the system a bunch of money when they're in the foster care or group home or whatever, and then in the prison system, it's still making money.
Exactly. So that there is a part of society that doesn't mind this, because prisoners are essentially slave labor. So yeah,
They didn't have our tax dollars to pull for all these programs. They couldn't even have them, so society would be forced to deal with it because it wouldn't be out of sight, out of mind, and we'd be a lot more mindful of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Indeed. All right, gentlemen. Well, it's approaching midnight on the East Coast. If we just want to go down the roll call and everybody give their closing words for tonight, we can wrap it up somewhat shortly, and we'll just go in the order we started with: Decoding with Cody, then Simple Truth TV, then Evan, then Richard, then Slick Nick, then DK Stonewood, then Porn Star JR. So Decoding with Cody. If you want to close us out.
I just wanted to thank again for doing this. This is always a good conversation and always good topics and information. So appreciate you letting me share. I'm going to keep doing more research on my end about this EMP thing that I'm pretty sure they're trying to symbolize. And it's good meeting all of you guys and seeing all you guys on here. Hopefully one day I can meet everyone here.
Cody, I think you're really onto something with that too, because you had the 129.57 connected, and then we realized it's 129 days before Super Bowl 57 that happened. And again, you connected it to Janet Napolitano, who was governor in Arizona, where Super Bowl 57 is. So maybe sometime not too far after Super Bowl 57 is the day.
Yeah, there's a see, I was also looking at November too, but I think that might be too soon. I think
February
it might be
26th. Again, that's days out there. But again, that's the anniversary of the 93 World Trade Center bombing, the 57th day of the year. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. But go ahead.
Also, did you know that 11/11 this year is exactly 254 months from 9/11? And remember, 9/11 happened on the 254th day of the year.
Right. Yeah. That's
so I'm just looking for November for something. Obviously, we got the elections. We got a total lunar eclipse. So there's a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I'll keep doing research and digging more into it and stuff like that. But I know that the Super Bowl this year is all a big ritual with the 57, and the Society of Jesus in Chaldean equals 57.
okay.
And Queen Elizabeth II equals 57.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of that keeps coming up, and that's why I couldn't ignore it. So but I think it's going to be probably in September next. There's a guy on YouTube. Have you ever heard of Archaics?
I don't think so.
So his research is about us living in essentially a matrix in a way, but he doesn't really call it that. He researches timelines, and he's reconstructed a lot of the calendars to the way they're supposed to be. And his research is quite complicated to understand in a lot of aspects, but he does isometric projections, which means you just take events in the past and you run them against events that could possibly happen in the future isometrically. And he's saying that there's going to be another Carrington event in September next year. So I told you about the Carrington event. You might want to look more into that. 'Cause I think it's going to have to do with that Carrington event. I just don't know how. And remember, Russell Wilson's middle name is Carrington.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I don't
that
think that's
I will look into that. Well, it'd be something to think they're naming their Manchurians with their planned blackouts, but that is how they work. It's just like Yom Kippur and Aaron Judge. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, and Aaron Judge had that 57 too.
Yep, that's right.
And
Which is like Supreme Court. His name is like 57 and 174, like Supreme Court.
and guess what? A home run record equals in Chaldean, 57.
Perfect.
And he hit that home run record, and his name equals 57. And he's from New York City, which equals 57 and 129.
Okay.
So, and remember, Hurricane Ian equaled 57. And that crowd crush that happened in what was that, Thailand? Crowd crush equals 57. And the stadium it happened in equaled 57.
Huh.
And remember, the World Cup is happening in Quaidar, which equals 57, and then it's just all over. Like,
And that number is often a part of sports championships. So
Yeah, Bills posted a picture of Josh Allen before the season started saying, "We are back." That equals 57 and 33. So
isn't it funny how the Queen, the only time she went to an American football game was in 1957, and then she dies on the first day of the 57th NFL, or well, the season that ends with Super Bowl 57. So,
and the current Seattle mayor is the 57th mayor of Seattle, and his name equals 201.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's interesting too. And Seattle used to be known as New York. A lot of people don't know that.
Seattle used to be known as New York.
Yeah. If you go back to,
I never knew that before. Where's that from?
Well, all I know is I haven't actually researched it myself, but there's another guy on YouTube that talks about it all the time about New York originally being. You'll have to research it. Maybe I'm not. Maybe
It used to be called Alki. I've never heard that it used to be called New York. I'll look into that. That's interesting.
Maybe the guy that's on YouTube talking about this is not. Maybe he didn't do his research, but I should do my own research on that to make sure it's true. But he said it used to be named New York before they changed it to Seattle.
Well, that's not true. It was called Alki before they changed it to Seattle, but it's possible at some point it was called New York. I'll look into that. That would be something if that was true.
So yeah, that's all I got. Like I said, I just appreciate all you guys and hope you guys all take care. Have a good one.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Cody. All right, Arthur. What's up, man?
Yeah, so now, even though I spoke about the organic side, I mean, I don't really like to focus too much on that stuff because I think at least my goal is to really expose the wrongdoing.
Right.
And if there isn't on the organic side, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I think there is, but I'm just saying it. Just a lot of the stuff we see that is causing us harm is not organic. It's just like I don't know why I don't want to focus on the organic because the organic is not dangerous to society. The Jesuit order is dangerous to society.
I agree. I'm really glad you're saying this because people annoy me. It's just like some of the people left commentaries and they're like, "Oh, finally you get it, Zach. Finally you see it's all organic." It's like I didn't say everything was organic. I've always acknowledged there's an organic side. There's clearly a manipulated side, and for all of you guys who ignore the manipulated side, you're ignoring the psychopaths who are ruling over us. I mean, do you think Event 201 and everything that happened was organic? Do you think 9/11 was organic? Do you think the Vikings being perfect on Leif Erikson Day is organic? I mean, come on, man. There's so many ways we're being manipulated, and most people don't have a clue. And because of that, that's why it's dangerous, because we're being led to a very dangerous place. I have the same philosophy as you, Arthur. The problem is when you start talking about the organic side, which I do think is a very real thing, people start thinking everything's organic, and then that detracts from exposing the evil.
Exactly. That's why I don't like. The only reason I spoke about this topic is because you guys brought up the number 118. I said, you know what? Let me just see what the people think about the death of my father. Even though I don't think my father died organically because he died at a hospital. But the danger is not with the organic side. That's not dangerous. The danger is with the Jesuit order. And because the thing is, when you're trying to teach this to somebody and they're saying like, well, what about your father? He died 118 days after your birthday. So then that makes it hard for me to explain why somebody else in the celebrity world died 118 days after his birthday and that person was murdered. It becomes difficult to prove that because then they start comparing it to my father who also died. So you're saying that your father died 100? Your father was murdered? So I don't like talking about the organic side. Whether it's real or not, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what these people are doing on us every single day.
Sure. And again, we see in the world of entertainment them laying out the narratives for what's to come before it happens. Tupac, who died on a 118 date numerology, constantly talked on his records about when he's gone, like he knew it was coming. And again, there's been a lot of examples, but that young Dolph example from last year where he made the tweet on the 201st day of the year doing the pyramid around his eye about family money sacrifices. And then, the pyramid in that town, it's 321 feet tall. He dies on the 321st day of the year, on the day leaving 44 days left in the year from a shooting, just the same old patterns. Again, there is an organic side, but then there's an obvious, pre-planned, ritualistic, perfect pattern. It's just like I said, these organic things, they happen sometimes in our life, but every single time these type of stories are coming up in the mainstream, they're perfectly by the same numbers, the same repetitive code. I mean, how often have we read about a young person dying in natural causes when it's like, come on, what young person's dying from natural causes? And then it's on like the kill date for the month. I can't think that the majority, maybe some of those are organic. Maybe some of them have been organic, but not all of them. Not all.
The Yankees becoming 99 and 61. The year that number 99 hit 61 home runs is not organic.
And then 99 and 62 in the next game as he hits a 60-second. I mean, come on.
They lose and pick up a 60-second loss.
And then they fall to 99 and 63 when record equals 99 and 63. And just day before, number 99 hit the record home run off number 63. And again, Roger Maris hit 61 home runs in 61, and then Aaron Judge breaks the record 61 years later. And when Maris was
at the Rogers Center.
Yeah, and when Maris hit it, the pitcher was number 39, like New York's 39, and the catcher was number 22, like Boston's 22. It was New York, Boston when Maris did it. And then Aaron Judge breaks the record in 22 on Yom Kippur. I mean, come on, man. This stuff's a script.
Yes.
And they was such a that pitch he threw him, that for the record, it was the most obvious meatball. And look at the body language of the pitcher as he throws it. It's like you could tell he didn't want to do it because he doesn't want to go down in history as the guy who gave up the record thing. You could just see it right when he threw it, like, oh, I'm just doing my job for however much a year I get paid. So.
Yeah, but that's all I have. So.
All right, Arthur. Well, I totally hear your argument and point of view, and it's why I do talk about the organic side, but seldomly, because people will always want to say, well, then maybe everything's organic. It's like, no.
I think speaking about the organic side so much is actually making an excuse for what's going on in the real world. It's like trying to cover it up and say, you know what? You know,
that's true.
Right. You think Russia-Ukraine's organic?
There's none.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. It's totally contrived. You think oil price here? You think everything in Bill Gates' 2010 TED Talk coming to light, exactly everything he called out? You think that's all organic, or do you think it's because he saw the plan? So,
Jeffrey Dahmer killing people at our apartment 213.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely organic. You know, have you seen the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series?
I'm aware of it.
Oh, and, man, it's gonna blow your mind. All the numbers.
201 everywhere.
Yeah, I know that they put 201 into the actor. He's born on 20/1, and his name is.
There's a lady on there that says, "Yeah, I live down the hall, apartment 201."
Yeah, that's episode 9. Yep.
It's like if you're watching this, like I was watching it with another person, and the other person was scared the whole time, and I was laughing the whole time. So it was just two different vibes, you know. I was laughing. I'm like, oh.
You know what's funny? When I was just at Marquette. And the biggest building that's right there in Milwaukee is towering over all of it. It says Catholic Life Financial. I'm like, look at this, man. Catholic Life Financial right here over the Jesuit University, which is right next to where Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment was.
And just the last thing I want to say, like, if you watch episode 10, at the end of it, there's a solar eclipse. And that reminded me of Derek, right? And then I looked at it. I was like, wait, that solar eclipse, that I think that's what they was portraying. It happened on May 10th, 1994. That was the same year that Jeffrey Dahmer died, right? And then I looked up, you remember the killer clown? He was like a serial killer. I forgot his name.
Oh, John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah.
He died on May 10th, the same day as the eclipse.
Huh.
And that was the same day that Jeffrey Dahmer got baptized. Huh. And they put all that stuff in episode 10.
And they have a documentary on him on Netflix, too.
Yeah, they just put one out, yep.
Oh, yeah,
on John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
They just put one
he got
out.
54 days after his birthday. So
Yeah.
it's just weird. Are they like, I don't know, are these real killers or just?
It's just like the serial killer here in California. They said like it's right after the supposed Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix. You get a supposed serial killer in California.
Yeah, exactly. While people were talking about serial killers, then they got a
Yeah.
story in California. Exactly.
That's what I was trying to tell my peers. I'm like, do you guys not see the mockery? Like, are you crazy? Like, this guy's actually going and killing people. I'm like, do you not see what's going on?
Isn't
Like,
it
come
funny how people
on.
act like that? Are you crazy? It's like I'm questioning the news. That's what everyone should
Yeah.
be doing.
How could you say something like that? You're very unemotional. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, very unemotional.
I know, man.
Dahmer's another fake Jewish last name as well. Dahmer, Kammler, Himmler, Hitler.
His name sounds like murder.
It's just
murder.
He was the big story when I was a kid. He was like he was easily the biggest serial killer in my generation in terms of buzz.
We had L.A. We had that guy Richard Ramirez. What the heck was his
Yeah.
What was his nickname or call sign? I forgot. Then we had the Hillside Strangler. I forgot where that one was, but the Night Stalker, that was Richard Ramirez, Night Stalker.
That was back in the 80s.
They did a thing for him in American Horror Story. Big ritual with him.
After
Yeah,
9/11, there was
he came
freeway
out in
shooting.
American Horror Story. Yep.
The DC sniper. So,
Yeah, but if you watch that, it's gonna make you laugh. All those numbers that they throw in people's face. I'm like, oh man, how do people not see this stuff, yo?
You said it was episode 9 where they throw out the 201?
Episode 9, and
yeah.
I think episode 10 is with the solar eclipse. Yeah. I like the first episode because the first episode, once he gets to his house, he tells his victim, here we are. And he opens
did you see the beginning? Did you see the beginning where he's playing he has a satanic Bible there and it has the Pope there playing on the VHS? Yeah.
This is in the Jeffrey Dahmer series?
Yep, it's the very first episode.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he's trying to watch a movie. He's like, let's watch a movie. And he has like the Pope blessing. I think it's a baby. I'm not too sure, but doing some kind of ritual, and it's the Pope, and then he has a satanic Bible there.
See, they're just trying to tell you, man.
Yeah,
they're just trying to tell you. Again, the founder of the Satanic Church, he died 201 days after his own birthday, Anton LaVey, and 201 days before the Pope's birthday, and Catholic Pope's
and young Dolph, didn't he die? He died like 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment, April 30th. That's also the day Adolf Hitler was assassinated or killed.
Yeah. And it's the day of the first COVID case now, too, November 17th, 201 days after the Satanic Church establishment date.
And they supposedly gave Dahmer 999 years.
Did they really?
Yeah, he got sentenced to 999 years.
Go on.
46 prime. Catholic. Sacrifice. Yeah, and then he died by the numbers in prison. Okay.
No, 999.
Oh, 999. 666 upside down. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That reminds me of the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like End of Days, where it begins with there's some astrological phenomenon happening, and then the Catholic Church is watching, and then they call a hospital in New York, and they tell the people at the hospital, the next child born at this time, make sure you take them down to the basement and do the... Have you guys seen this movie?
No.
Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah, they take this child to the basement of a New York hospital and they like slit open a snake and pour blood all over it on orders from the Vatican. Again, they've given us so many clues in Hollywood with things that are really going on in this world. So
truth in plain sight.
Yeah. All right, Slick Nick, you're up next, man. What's up?
I mean, real quick, just want to say thank you for everything and having me on. And I want to say with the Queen, she does equals 62 and 26 and cereal. And, I'm all about Josh's Jacks, Josh's Allen cereal. Cereal equals 26. So,
okay.
I'm big on the Bills this year. I want to say thank you for the truth and everything, man. Thanks for letting me on tonight. And
of course,
thank you.
Good to have a face now with the voice. And again, this guy did have the killer find that really, I think people were already feeling the Giants, and then when they found out it was 78 days after Harry Potter,
I saw that.
Giants fan. Like,
and Harry Potter equaled the 65 and the 73, and Packers went to 7-3 on October 9th at home. So it was just perfect.
Amazing.
But thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great find. All right, I might have went out of order there. Evan, you're up. What's up, Evan?
Yeah, thanks for having me on tonight. I keep saying that I'm going to make more YouTube videos regarding Gematria, but I end up playing too much pickleball.
Pickleball is probably healthier. So
ever since I moved to Texas last summer, I've just been hooked on that. But anyways, I did in the private chat, I posted a link to an article that I think was actually from the city of Seattle that talks about how New York was actually like the original name for like the first settlement or the first white settlement of that area.
Wow.
Back in
I
like
never
the
knew that.
1850s.
But God, those cities are connected. So
Yeah.
so New York was the wow. I never knew that.
I posted a little snippet in the private chat too, and I also posted something one of my subscribers wrote me about how the two teams before 9/11 that played and beat the Jets and Giants were the Colts and Broncos.
Say that last part again.
He said that last when we had 9/11, the two teams that played, the two New York teams right before 9/11 was the two teams that just played the other night that I found that riddle, and they're the Colts and the Broncos.
Huh.
And the Colts represent the constellation called the Corona Borealis. It looks like a horseshoe. So yeah, it's in the chat. You can read it in the private chat here.
Okay. Great research. I'll check that out. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, once again, thanks. And I've got to go to sleep now. So
all right, have a good one, Evan. Richard, you're up.
Okay. Final thoughts, man. Yeah, I think the organic side is interesting. There definitely is an organic side, but shit in the media, it's not organic. Okay, these fucking these games, these rigged ass games, they're not organic. You know, these CNN headlines, those things are not organic at all. I hate people who say, "Oh, it's all God doing it. It's all Jesus." It's like,
Right. It's like, come on, man. Use some discernment.
Yeah, and people don't. That's wrong. People don't have discernment. They just believe everything they hear, and they just start parroting the same shit.
I think a part of it is people just want like this excuse why they shouldn't have to do anything about anything. It's out of their hands. It's in God's hands.
They don't care. They don't care. Yeah, they don't care.
They don't want to do anything.
They're fucking lazy. They don't want to do shit. They want somebody to come save them. That's why they have the little fucking Bible there, thinking that Jesus is gonna come save them, Now they have Ron DeSantis, thinking that Ron DeSantis is the savior.
Yeah, it's a joke how people fall for the politicians, man.
Yeah, and Trump people will say, "Oh, Trump was not a politician, even though he was a president." It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a businessman. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's a businessman.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Richard. And Richard's been, you guys, King Richard TV. He's doing a lot of work on his channel now. So make sure you subscribe to King Richard TV. Make sure you subscribe to Simple Truth TV. Make sure you subscribe to everybody who has their own channel who's putting out the work. I think Decoding with Cody started his own channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. I wanted to mention something else before I leave. I also want to address people just saying shit you can't prove. And I know certain people know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention any names, but the cloning shit, that has to stop. People mentioning cloning. Oh, I think cloning's real. It's like, okay, you can pretty much say, oh yeah, we can speculate all day that cloning might be going on, but why are they going to clone a guy like a rapper like Offset? Hey, come on, it's a joke. People know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say any names. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Again, about cloning, though. Again, the example I always make about cloning is they told us they could clone a sheep back in the 90s, and they announced it on the 53rd day of the year when sheep's 53. My argument back then in middle school was if they can clone a sheep, they should be able to clone any kind of mammal. Right. But yeah, I do get tired of everyone saying like this person's definitely cloned. It's like where is your proof that this person is definitely cloned?
No, and then they make videos saying, so and so is dead and cloned.
And cloned. Yeah, I can't stand that shit. It's like a TMZ tabloid. It's like, okay, if you're gonna be equating that shit,
I hate people that do that. That's why people do it.
Yeah, people know what I'm talking about. It's just
People like bullshit more than they like real facts, and that's why religion is bigger than actual truth. It's like religion is just there's a group already. People are weird, man. It's hard for me to make sense of how the average person is, but they are.
Yeah, I think certain people do it just for views, man. I think some people just do it just to get a click and get a bit of attention. I mean, hey, you know, you want to do that, that's fine, but I mean, don't be making Gematria look bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I had to say that, man.
I'm sure they have the technology to at least make a clone person, but you know,
Right. But I mean, if they're cloning everybody, how come they don't clone somebody like Steve Wozniak or like Steve Jobs, right? I mean, why clone somebody like a nobody rapper nobody really cares about? Like Young Dolph, like people are saying Young Dolph's a clone of this person. It's like, what? Or recently I saw somebody say Snoop Dogg is Tom Cruise. It's like, come on, man. What?
That's crazy.
Snoop Dogg is Tom Cruise?
Yeah, somebody on Twitter said that, man. It just, oh my god, like.
Hey, there you. I mean, come on, man. Like Tom Cruise is short, Snoop Dogg is tall. This is all kinds of wrong. So
yeah, I hate people who just say that shit, man. Or they say, or the most recent one is Kobe Bryant is Myles Garrett.
yeah, that one I see that all over the place. It's like, come on, man. Kobe'd be like 50 years old now.
Yeah, it's like Kobe Bryant's 40, or he would have been 44. Well,
I'll tell you what other one I get sick of. Bill Hicks is Alex
I hate
Jones.
that one. I
Dude,
can't
go look
stand
when
that
they
shit.
were both alive. They look nothing alike. They sound nothing alike. They were both living at the same time and performing. I mean, they looked nothing alike back then. So
You know who keeps saying that shit? It's
everybody.
Russian Vids. Russian Vids is the one who started doing that
Well,
shit.
he only has 3 topics. The Earth's flat and Bill Hicks is Alex
Yeah,
Jones.
that dude. Yeah, I had to call him out, and he ended up blocking me. So fuck that guy. That guy.
Yeah.
What about Serena Williams as a man? I love that one.
Well, ton of that. Yeah, that too, man. And it's just like there are some strong women. I mean, you get out in the world of athletics, there are some strong women. So
Or a new one is LeBron James as a female.
and that's
Literally, I've
just
heard
like,
that.
come on, man. You think what woman is dunking like that? Come on, man.
Exactly, and their only proof is like look at between their legs, like look how they walk. No woman walks like that, or no. It's like come on, like
It's like LeBron has more dunks in a season than the WNBA does in its whole history, and it probably has more dunks in a month than the WNBA does in its history.
I give Venus and Serena about 50-50. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Michelle Obama too.
Yeah, that one's probably more than 50-50. That one's like 60-40.
Right.
Well, he did call her Michael a lot. I mean,
And
I've never called
yeah,
sweet lady
Tom
my
Rivers
name.
said she was a trans. So and
I remember that. Yeah.
There's a lot of photos of Michelle when she was Michael too. So you know what I mean. I don't know.
Yeah, those are 50-50s.
If Jeff Young was on here, he'd be telling us that Jeff Young's been telling me that for years, that almost every woman in Hollywood is really a dude. You know, in a way, it wouldn't surprise me because I always thought like a lot of actresses are not attractive. So maybe it makes sense they're dudes who converted. So
Jamie Lee Curtis was born a man. That's like known, if you remember her, and she played like a sex pot in some movies
with Arnold.
Lies. True Lies.
True Lies. Yeah, True Lies.
Yeah.
Remember in the cloning thing showed pretty big in a couple movies. I give that about probably a 50-50. Who knows what kind of technology they really have. But remember in Swordfish, John Travolta, he like runs away and gets in a helicopter and flies away. And then Hugh Jackman sees a dead John Travolta right there on the floor. Like, he's like, what? And then that one other one where they had to like record all your last memory before they put you into the clone. That whole movie was about cloning, and then it went bad. Like bad people took it over. I can't remember the name, but that's been shown in a lot of movies. So who knows what they got on that.
Again, if they really clone the sheep, I don't see why they couldn't clone a person. But yeah, I hear the argument of stop saying that this person was definitely cloned, because it's like, what proof do you
clone?
have?
Yeah, they keep saying dead and cloned. It's like, what?
I heard George Bush Sr. has been cloned like the most out of anyone, like up to, because he's been involved in so much evil shit over the years that he's been killed. So I mean, who knows? You know, I mean, is it possible? Maybe. I give that one about a 30% chance of being true. 70, you know, who knows?
Right.
would be the purpose of cloning anyway?
Well, if the
Huh?
cabal, if they wanted their agents like, and then they get killed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But obviously, they're not going to clone like Dolph or something like one of
So
them.
why though? So why
Yeah,
isn't
I don't
George,
see them cloning a nobody rapper like Offset or
so
Young
why
Dolph.
isn't George Washington walking around or Thomas Jefferson?
True.
I mean, how do we know they're not?
Islands.
How do we know what those guys look like? You know what I'm saying? I don't. I
Yeah, are
don't.
these people even real people? Yeah.
Who knows? You know. I've
It could
heard
be
that
made.
they have anti-aging technology where they could literally, because it's just retuning the telomeres, like how we used to live 1,000 years and we didn't look all old. You know, now we like after our 20s we start aging right away. Once you reach like a peak around 25ish, you start, you know, aging and you can see it. Whereas before, you know, have all these people 600, 800 years old. So imagine what you would turn into dust. The way we're aging now, you would turn into dust by like 200. So you know, I mean, it's possible that they say that these people, that's how they hold them. They show them people that that they reversed aged. And then they say, we'll give that to you after a lifetime of service to us. So we can make you live forever. I've heard that before. Like, that's why some of these people are there doing it. Like, especially in the military industrial complex, they say they've seen people that were around in the 40s and then they look just like they did in the 40s, like 25. And they're like, what the hell? I worked with you when I was 18. Now I'm like 80 and you're still 25. What you know, like what's going on? So, I mean, I've heard all that stuff. Who knows? I give it a 30% chance, you know, maybe.
Right.
It's
Arthur, I wanted to tell you something, man. I saw your video the other day on Joey Badass. I think you missed a few parts to that decode, man. He's born January 20th, right?
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Okay. So you know he did the tribute the other day on 10/5.
Yeah.
So from his birthday to the tribute he did was 258 days later. So the Order of Illuminati, right?
Yeah.
Hit 3 out of the 4 ciphers. There could be something with that 93 though, but
Yeah, Don, that video, I wasn't doing a decode on Joey Badass. I was doing a decode on his friend that died.
yeah. I know you're talking about Capital Steez, the big 47 ritual was.
He died
He loved that
120
number
years old.
supposedly.
They made a song about him too. He talked about it.
Right. Yep.
Did you come to the conclusion that he died for Joey Badass?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was his childhood.
Oh yeah.
Because that was my theory years ago. Is the Capital Steez's death was for Joey Badass. It all lined up.
Yeah.
And Capital Steez, he knew about Gematria. So. Yeah. Capital Steez knew all about that, and I'm sure Joey Badass does too.
He has a video saying that he knows the code, and then he throws up the pyramid.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. I posted it not too long ago.
I'll definitely check that out. But yeah, I know Capital Steez was aware of that. He always talked about 47 has a lot to do with balance and time. He was talking a lot about that. So.
Oh yeah, suicide is 47. Capital Steez is 47. He died.
And he died on a day with 47 numerology too.
He's supposed to be jumped off a roof.
Right, and suicide's 47. So yeah, perfect.
I forget. Is it the way Joey Badass spells his name? Is that also 47?
Isn't it with $2 at the end?
Maybe
Yeah.
he spells it different. I forget. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people ask about Capital Steez. Porn star JR, you haven't given us your final words yet.
Oh, I just want to say thank y'all for spreading awareness and stuff, and thank y'all for coming on here. And I was about to say, how do y'all feel about them going from like this whole pandemic to another little fake little virus, I guess, and then they just stopped talking about both of them, and then they just,
monkeypox. Where'd it go?
Huh?
Are you talking about monkeypox? Like how they made that a big thing, it just kind of vanished?
Yeah, it just like I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you don't even hear about it no more.
And it's crazy because when you search it like on like YouTube and stuff, none of that stuff, even the C word, I'm not about to say it, y'all know, but even that stuff, that don't even like come up no more. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like they just killed it.
That's how it's always been though with the news. They'll just be hammering you with a topic and then it'll just like disappear one day on to the next thing. And it's like, can't you see how the news works, you guys? Like
exactly. And then the whole thing with the whole shootings and stuff, I'm just like, so
Mass
that's the
shootings.
new distraction. And then it's just like it's gonna keep going on from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they just had one in Tacoma yesterday. Supposedly an active shooter going up in there. Story made no sense, as always, but yeah.
And yesterday they just had to. North Korea reportedly fires ballistic missile, like breaking news all day, and then just no follow up. I guess they didn't shoot a ballistic missile. It's just like, I mean, this is trash. I can't believe that people fall for the news and then they call us crazy for questioning it and pointing out what's wrong with it. But
we automatically get called conspiracy theorists. Like it's right in your face. Like
Or
damn.
weirdos. You get called a
Yeah.
weirdo. Like, oh, how dare you?
Like man.
Like the other day, like again, questioning the serial killer shit. Oh, you're very like, why? How could you say that about somebody? Like, what if that was your own family? It's like,
I just met a girl last night. She stopped me and then she asked me, was I gonna kill her because she just seen a Netflix series? I'm like, why are y'all doing this to yourself? Like, what the fuck?
that shows you how it works, though. They got the thought in their head, right? They're watching the show. Now they're wondering if you're a serial killer.
Because
Exactly,
they already got that fear projected in their head.
Yeah.
Zach, you just said that missile, that thing, and the first thing when I saw that, like when they were talking about on TV, I was thinking about, you know, the guy that plays in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Matthew Broderick. Remember that other movie he was in called War Games, where the computer thing took over and it was playing games?
Right.
It's just literally that's what we're watching. They showed movies and it looked, I don't know, on screen when they were in some huge military industrial complex, like control room, and the screen had like a big IMAX movie screen in front there looking at, and it looks exactly like what they're showing us on the news now about the missile with the little trail behind it red and then like where it's dropping. I mean, it's just hilarious.
Indeed. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, it's about 12:30 on the East Coast. Probably a good time to wrap it up. Did anybody have any last thing that they really want to get out there?
oh yeah. I want to talk about. Did you hear about the Jordan Poole situation where he got slapped supposedly?
I missed that.
Dude,
Yeah.
He got punched in the jaw really hard by Draymond Green. Did you see the actual thing?
Yeah, I seen the video. Yep.
Dude, he hit him hard. He like went down. That was like a UFC type of punch against the cage.
Preseason game?
In like their practice or something.
Huh.
Yeah. Supposedly they got into an altercation.
Really happened.
This is the same type of thing they did with Kevin Durant when they wanted him to leave.
Yeah, I've been noticing a pattern like all these people are supposed to get in fights.
Yep.
That whole ritual was synced up with Steve Kerr and Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
and
I remember
I'm
you
from
talked
the
about
Bay
it.
Area.
Are you?
Yep, I'm from the Bay Area. So I was like, damn, what the fuck? Like, this a pattern. Like, they did the same thing with KD. Like, they got into an argument with him, and then that's when he left. And it was just like, what the fuck is going on? I think he about to be gone.
I do think that's a huge prophecy, Richard. The reason I say that is because Jordan Poole, the guy who got hit, he's born. It's interesting. He's born on June 19th. That's the real King James' birthday. It reminds how LeBron won on the real King James' birthday, right? And from his birthday to the supposed slap, which is on October 6th, was the 110th day of his age. We know prophecies 106 and 110.
They might give LeBron another ring because it's like what 20 years
He's
about
gonna
to be
get
an
2
anniversary.
more. For all the haters out there, he's gonna get to 6 and 6. You just watch, especially now that Charles is the king again. King James is the son of King Charles is the son of King James, and the people who fought for him are Cavaliers. Charles equals 66, like LeBron, like Lakers. While he's 6, I bet when he turns 42 years old, that's the year he becomes 6 and 6 in finals. He'll turn 38 in December this year. So in the next 4 years, I think LeBron, you'll see him get to 6 and 6.
You think he's going to retire at 42?
I don't know if he'll retire at 42. He might. He might. LeBron James 42. He might get to 6 and 6 and retire at 42. Again, the reason I think those numbers will come together is the word math is 42 forward, 66 in reverse. New Testament's 42, 66. Again, King James Bible, 66 books in the Bible. And now that Charles is king, it makes too much sense. Lakers wear purple like royalty. Don't forget royal family's 56. The funeral for the queen was 56 days before Charles' birthday. So LeBron's next championship should make him 5-6. And I think it'll make it easy when LeBron's in his next 2 finals. I don't think he's losing them. He's already got his 6 losses. So
you're saying 6-6 at 42?
I think he'll be 6-6 at 42. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 plus
Isn't
2.
Lakers 42 and 66?
What is it?
Lakers is 42 and 66.
Yeah, Lakers is all. You're right. Lakers is 42 as well. I always think of the 66 with it, and Lakers is 96 as well. Like LeBron and the Queen just died at 96. I wouldn't be so. I haven't been looking at. Did the Lakers make any moves this offseason?
Yeah, I haven't checked.
We'll have to look into that because I mean.
Yeah, they got the point guard. What's his guy's name? He used to play for the Rockets. Oh man, I'm just looking him up.
Yeah, I got to do my basketball homework and see how things line up this year if they put out the finals date. Because I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to become 5-6 this year, but I'll be surprised if LeBron doesn't finish his NBA career 6-6.
Yeah, Patrick Beverly joined the roster.
Patrick Beverly's who they got, who used to play on the Clippers?
Yeah.
Okay, he's back in Beverly Hills. Okay, showtime.
Isn't the Kings the first team that he played against, the Sacramento Kings?
LeBron, yeah, his first game was against the Kings. Of course it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
LeBron came out with a video recently saying he's a numbers guy and his favorite number is 6 actually, and he connected 3.
He broke down the numerology. I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. He connected 3 6s and how his son was born in the 6th month. His favorite number is 6, and he said some other 6. It was like 3.
Yeah, he said his old jersey number 23. He said 2 times 3 is 6, and now he wears the number 6. Yeah, I seen that.
Big numbers
That's
guy.
straight mockery.
That's straight mockery, man.
Yeah.
I sat there and I laughed at that shit, man. Like,
Yeah,
come
me
on,
too.
people don't see it.
Have they put out what day the NBA Finals starts this year? Have they put out this information yet?
They haven't yet, I don't think.
No, not yet.
Yeah, it's in the June. I think it's June 1st.
On 6-1. Oh my god.
I think it's funny that we all watch it from one perspective, and then other people, when they watch it, think it's hella real, and they just like, damn.
Bro, I can't even watch these games anymore. I can't even watch them. I just sit there and laugh at them.
Yeah, I watch like highlights or something and just laugh.
Yeah.
The season begins on October 18th this year. That's the anniversary of Event 201, the day leaving 74 days left in the year. The regular season ends on April 9th. That's the day DMX died the other year, but also Prince Philip died at age 99 on the 99th day of the year. And then King Charles gave his first speech on 9/9 as king. The playoffs begin April 15th, the 105th day of the year. And Arthur, where did you see the June 1st thing at?
It starts on Thursday, June 1st, 2023.
Is it final 61?
Yeah, finals.
Yeah, finals of 61.
And it ends on the
that day leaves 213 days left in the year, right?
Yeah, the NBA Finals 213.
And LA area code 213. We know what they did.
Isn't Coolio born on that day too? August 1st?
This is June 1st, though.
So
June 1st.
Just type in NBA Finals start date 2023. I think it should come right up.
NBA Finals date 2023.
Huh. Speaking of Coolio, did you know his name equals 59-2 in the Kabbalah cipher?
Go figure. I do see the key dates on NBA.com. It does say the NBA Finals start June 1st. I see the same thing. So here, let's just look right now how many days it is from King Charles' birthday, because they synced up the 111th World Series with the Queen and King Charles. He wasn't the king back then. His birthday is November 14th. So I want to check all this out because we already know about LeBron and King James and King Charles and the Cavaliers. Let's see. June 1st, 2023 will be that'll be 190. So the finals start exactly 199 days after Charles' birthday, which is the 46th prime. LeBron will come into those finals if he made it this year 4-6. So that's interesting. Remember, LeBron became 4-6 right before Joe Biden became number 46. So and get to look at this more. It's also 28 weeks and 3 days after Charles' birthday, kind of like 283, the 61st prime. This final start on 6-1 and Royal Family 61. Yeah, it could be as soon as this year.
Hey Zach, did you see the picture of King Charles's chair that he's going to be coronated on? It's called King Edward's chair, and it equals 154, like the Antichrist.
King Edward's chair, huh? Okay. Saint Edward's chair or King Edward's chair? Game of Thrones. Okay, it's existed since March of 1300. Got a nice big pyramid on the top.
LeBron released a new flavor of. He released a chip this year with Ruffles, and it's called Flaming Hot Cheddar and Sour Cream, and that equals 129 in reduction in basic.
Okay.
So.
Okay. But yeah, for all you guys with the basketball season about to start, again, is it going to be a tribute to here? Let's see. The season starts October 18th. So let's get all the dates on this real quick.
What about Bill Russell's birthday to that start? That should be something.
Yeah, that again, they always compared LeBron to Bill Russell.
That 10/18 date was the date I was telling you about. It's 2 days after, or it's the day after the Chargers and the Broncos play.
Okay. The season starts on a Tuesday, October 18th. From the Queen's death to October 18th is a span of 41 days. We know that number goes with King and LA, big number with LeBron's history.
10/18 is also 1/18, so.
Yeah, one Los Angeles number. Time goes by too fast. I can't believe the basketball season's already starting again. They got the Lakers and Warriors, of course, playing on opening day. Golden State 41, LA 41. The two guys born in the same hospitals, Curry and LeBron. And then you got the Sixers and the Celtics. And that's fitting because this is the 77th pro basketball season, but the 76th NBA season. Boston 77 versus the 76ers for the first game. And those are the two numbers for the year, 77, 76.
I like how the playoff starts on 15/4 and King James on 55.
That's a good point. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I'd explore that royal family angle to see if it could be the Lakers' year this year. I'm not sure it's going to be their year though, because God, you still got that 76 connection, and again, it's just like we said last year. Last year you had a 76 connection. This year you had a 76 connection. Last year we said all year, either the Warriors or 76ers should win the finals, and the Warriors did have the better odds to win it. It's not a surprise they did in San Francisco, the 76th city. But yeah, we're going to have to the Lakers, royal family, King Charles, LeBron narrative, it's coming.
So you think the Lakers get past 17? I don't know if we're breaking that 17.
Yeah, that's the thing. Could LeBron switch teams? Could he switch teams to do it? Could he go back to the Cavs? Again, the Cavaliers are named after King Charles.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, he might have to go to another team because that is a good point. If the Lakers got to 19 championships, Queen does equal 19. But yeah, are they going to break that NBA 17 ceiling? That's a big if. All right. Any more last thoughts? If not, we can wrap it up. But if anybody else has anything else to say, now is the time.
I had one more.
Go ahead.
Anybody hear about the supposed not? I guess you call it a documentary. The Redeemer. I can't. What's the name of it? It's on Netflix. It's about Kobe, LeBron, Carmelo, and it's on Netflix. Gotta find it. I covered it here. It was coded with 59 and 42. Let me see. Here it is. Yeah, it was about Dwayne Wade, and it's called the Redeem Team. That's what it's called, and it's a ultimate comeback story. And the day it released on Netflix was October 7th. That's the day with 59 numerology, and the Redeem Team equals 59. And it's in the most pure cipher, and Dwayne Wade equals 42, like LeBron James. And of course, Black Mamba equals 59. And again, talking about Kobe, LeBron, and Dwayne Wade.
Oh, okay.
And that came out when the
That
moon
came out
was
October 7th.
It
on
came out, yeah,
Netflix.
when the moon was in Pisces, and Pisces has come back also.
Right, and they're talking about a comeback story.
Mm.
You know,
That's the day leaving 85 days left in the year.
yeah,
Basketball.
basketball 85. Yep.
Yeah, go
Yeah, I found that interesting, but I was looking for the 42 and I found it. So
Yeah. Hollywood must just be releasing everything organically.
I think Squid Games is one of the best number movies.
Yeah, I'm sure that was organic in Squid Game, where 201 survive. I'm sure that was totally organic. Yeah.
Yeah, with the 201 and 187 Squid Game.
For all the people out in the chat, she's not on the panel right now, but she's got her own blog, cracktheircode.org. That's Amy2 Crack Their Code site, and she's got up a post on Michael J. Fox's mother dying, and
Michael Fox, right?
Oops, I didn't mean to take that away. Here, I'll look up her post real quick that she wanted us to see. So, Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future. His mother's dead at 92. Again, no one's going to question the death of a 92-year-old. Amy reminds in her post that murder and mother have the same gematria in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. And this came 107 days after Michael J. Fox's birthday. Ritual Sacrifice 107. And he was at the 2022 New York Comic Con when he announced the death of his mother. And he announced it while attending the Back to the Future reunion panel at New York Comic Con on Saturday. That's when he paid tribute to his mother. So he paid tribute. Well, I'm not exactly following what she did with her post because she had. Okay, I'll have to go over her post more carefully. But yeah, you guys check out Amy's website, cracktheircode.org. She is doing really great work. Oh, she showed how from the anniversary of the release date of the first Back to the Future to his mother's death was 83 days later. And again, mother and murder are 83.
Right.
So to me, that's the first stat to go to right there. And then just he announced that at the Back to the Future related thing, and then she died at 83. That's what I mean, you guys. I mean, there is an organic side, but it's way too much of this in the world of Hollywood. And
Wait, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's not synced up with like their own birthdays. So often it's synced up with the work that they're remembered for. And
right. Well,
yeah.
I got another example to add to that. It's not necessarily a mother, but it is a mother and daughter, and the daughter ended up dying. I'm not too sure if you heard of this, but pretty sure you've heard of the show, the series Basketball Wives, a reality TV show. Basketball Wives. Pretty sure you've heard of that. Yeah, Basketball Wives. The supposed daughter of the actress, I guess you can call her that, the star, Brooke Bailey. Her daughter died on, I think it was September 25th, and that was National Daughter Day. So just think about that. That was her daughter dies on National Daughter Day.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kobe and his daughter dying, and then the Lakers winning the championship on Father-Daughter Day.
Right, and then she died 74 days after her own mom's birthday, and it's a big killing number, killing 74. She died in Memphis. And Memphis has a gematria 83 and 38 like murder. And what's interesting is Memphis and National Daughter Day equal 83 and 106. And that same day, you had the news of T.I.
Here's looking at you,
She died on T.I.'s 22nd birthday. And he was in the news that same day for calling somebody a bitch. For a bitch equals 42. And he turned 42 and the end was 42. So much more.
All right. Well, I think we can leave it there, gentlemen. It gets getting late on the East Coast, and I told Sweet Lady I wouldn't go on too long tonight. But yeah, if I miss TFR this Wednesday night, I'll do a makeup show afterwards. So it might not be on actual TFR, but I'll hop on and do the makeup show. I'll probably get home a little bit after 6, so that's too late to start the show. But again, pretty soon I'll be done with all the moving stuff, and we won't miss any more TFRs. All right, just one more time. We do got to wrap it up, but if anybody else just has anything else on their mind that's pressing, you can get it out real quick. Otherwise, we can sign off.
I got a couple quick generic comments.
Go ahead.
As far as the guy that was talking about EMP and stuff, I think he had something there because I don't know if I mentioned on this show, but on other shows we've talked about how there's really no such thing as an EMP. That's just another like scam. So they're going to try to blame either like some Russian missile or something like that on EMPs or asteroids or something. So I think we may be able to predict a power outage, because that's all they want to do is shut down the power everywhere that they're that these hurricanes hit and destroy. Like in Florida now, they're upgrading the power grid. When my brother was living in South Beach, Miami, they did that same thing. It was like, what, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, they had that ginormous hurricane. They said all they did was turn off the power for 2 weeks and upgrade the power grid so it could handle 5G.
They're doing that in Naples right now.
Yes, exactly. And my friends live there, so I know exactly what's going on. It's just an upgrade for the electronic prison. They got to upgrade the they're putting the new big, I don't know if it's called like Cat 5 cabling or whatever they call it. And then, Zach, when we played that one guy imitating the Jordan dunks, and then I sent you another one of him doing the Steph Curry, which is hilarious as well. So when you watch that, does it not seem just like people imitating like, famous actor lines like "I'll be back," Arnold Schwarzenegger, or like "Here's looking at you, kid," whoever was that, Gone with the Wind, or Clark Gable? You know what I mean? All throughout history, these famous movie lines, it's like, to me, it's like the same. Like, how could somebody else imitate them so well if it's not like totally scripted and like actors? You know what I mean? It would like, can somebody imitate you on the court like that well? You know what I mean? Like that, it seems
sure.
like they're embellishing, you know what I mean? Like, it's
well, look at Kobe. I mean, Kobe's career emulated Jordan's, right?
Yep. The same, exact same.
Yeah, totally. All the same moves.
They're like clones of each other.
It's just like, yeah. So you know how you can obviously you watch a movie and you could emulate the actors, and then it's the same way with the sports. It's
right.
Such a joke.
Kobe is Michael Jordan.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, I had another computer. Did you hear that, Zach?
You cut out.
Oh, sorry. I said I just had another device go out. Do you still have that computer with the broken screen?
I do.
Yeah, I may be able to use that. Does it have any kind of slots to plug anything in on the side? Or is it one of those new Apple things where everything has to be wireless?
Here, my computer with a broken screen is right here. Yeah, it has things you can plug in the side, so you can get it linked up to another monitor.
Okay. I may be able to use that. I got two 40-inch monitors, but I don't have anything else other than my phone right now, which sucks. How does that thing connect to internet only through Wi-Fi, or can you plug in a Ethernet on the side, or like one of the phone things? Because that's how I usually do it.
You need a special adapter.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need an adapter for that one.
I may be able to use that. Okay, I'll talk to you on the side about that.
Yeah. So yeah, that can be done though.
It could. Okay. I usually like to use the phone thing, like from Verizon or AT&T, where you just plug it into the side of the laptop, and then it's like a you can use it anywhere. You're just going through phone service. It's just not going to be as fast, but at least it's not just stuck in your house,
Right. Yeah. Hit me up, man, because Apple wants over $800 to repair the screen, and it's like, God, you can almost get a new computer for that. So
I feel that's probably why they do it too.
that is why they
do that on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just when you flip open, if you barely have the screen open, it works fine. But if you flip it open all the way, it just cuts out. There's something wrong in the connection there.
Oh, really? That's all? Oh shit! I may be able to get somebody who knows what they're doing just to take it apart. Not Apple, but
Yeah, it's probably not the hardest fix, but yeah, Apple wants over $800 to fix it. So
they'll probably just put a new screen on it.
well, then the thing was, I went to the local computer repair shop here, and they had an even bigger quote. So I was like, God, it's ridiculous.
It's like with the iPhones, the newer iPhones. Like, if you're trying to self-repair it, you got to buy the Apple parts for it, and it'll still give you a hard time. You got to go through their customer service, which is really no help. It's pretty much a robot. So,
yeah,
yeah.
You guys don't have those like cheap kiosks in the mall and places like that? Well, they'll just do your like iPhone screen for like $60 and like
They got that out here.
Yeah, we got all. You guys don't have that?
It's called third-party ones.
Yeah, it's a third-party one. Yep.
But if you go to a third party, then Apple they don't accept it. Like you gotta have actual screens and stuff, so they won't notice.
Yeah, even them too. Like, if you even go with Apple, you still go through a hard time with it because that's what happened with me with my iPhone. Like the screen ended up breaking. I still went to their self-repair program, and I still went through a hard time with them. So, yeah.
Good to know. All right, gentlemen. Well, I think we can wrap it up. That was a good stream. Appreciate everyone who came on tonight. And again, make sure you guys are supporting the other people in the community. I know Arthur has his channel at Simple Truth TV. Does anybody else have a social media platform they want to plug?
Yeah. My Twitter, you can follow me at Twitter at 201 Jesuits.
Yeah.
I kind of come up with a better name, so I just put 201 Jesuits.
That makes me really suspicious of you, Rich.
Are you a robot?
You're a shill.
No, I'm a clone, guys.
Yeah, you're a clone.
Yeah, clone confirmed. But yeah, 201 Jesuits on Twitter. My YouTube's King Richard TV all together. You're gonna have to go through channels and look it up because, of course, YouTube's shadow banning my stuff. So you can find me there.
My YouTube and Twitter is both Decoding with Cody, just like it's spelled here.
With K's.
With K's and an I at the end.
Yeah.
And then I got one more thing to say about the organic side. Just real quick, my mom's birthday, February 18th, the 49th day of the year. And my grandma's birthday is April 9th, 49. So
perfect.
Yep, that's all I gotta say. Thank you. Thank you so much, Zach. Let's have a great night.
Arthur, one question I gotta ask you before I get off. New York next year for September 11th. Would you come out again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need more people to come out next year. We had a good sized group, but had we had a little bit more people, I think it would have been an even much bigger impact. Again, we got to make the news media come out and cover what we're doing.
I think you could do that.
I think it's possible.
Come to Florida. I swear these people will do anything.
You know, Zach, I didn't tell you this, but that same day, early in the morning, I was at the World Trade Center, and there was a monk right around that area where we was at, and right at the 846 mark, he had a bunch of fake blood poured on him. I'm gonna upload that video later on tomorrow.
Yeah, upload that. Weird.
It was so ritualistic. I'm like, what is going on? Like, are they doing this right in front of me? Like a bunch of fake blood on top. I'm like, oh.
Indeed. Huh, that's weird. Yeah, I got to see that footage. All right, you guys, Arthur's going to upload that to his channel, Simple Truth TV. Make sure you guys are subscribed to him, Decoding with Cody, King Richard TV. Was there any other ones that people plugged that we missed?
Crack Their Code?
Yeah, Amy's website. She's not on here. Cracktheircode.org is Amy's blog. All right. Well, we'll leave it there for tonight. Again, thank you everyone who tuned in tonight. Thank you to everyone with the like and the share. Make sure you subscribe to everybody and try to get back consistently with the Sunday night shows too. And if you thought about coming on tonight, come on to the next one. It's always nice to see the new faces. Had a number on tonight. Again, thanks, Nick, for putting your face out there.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll leave it there. All right. Oh, there he is, of course. DK Muscles. All right, you guys. Until next time.
I think to check if you're a clone, you got to look at your lower eyelid, right? Is that what it was? To see if you got 3 dots in your lower eyelid or something. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Good night,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, night, man.
Take care, all. Till next time.